All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new here. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Once again, late afternoon, evening stream. Apologies once again. It's so weird, man. It's weird streaming this late. I did get a super chat earlier from PS on the brain. He says, MBG, no more Xbox talk today. Dedicated stream. Absolutely. Yeah, we do have to talk about this. I know, I know. We're going to stop talking about Xbox, and then all we're going to do is talk about Xbox the next day. That's how we do it here. But I do I do appreciate you guys joining. As I said, in case you missed yesterday's stream, my schedule for I don't know if it's going to be the entire month of March, but my schedule is going to be a little bit all over the place. There's just a lot going on, so thank you for bearing with me. We will still have days though where we do streams at normal times though, but it's not permanent. So if you're struggling to adjust to the later streams, that's okay. Um, I'm struggling with it. I'm not used to streaming at this time. It feels weird. But we do have a really interesting topic to talk about today. I don't know how long tonight's stream is going to be, but we have it confirmed. The next Xbox console is real. I mean, I don't think anybody doubted that it was real, but Microsoft decided today was the day they were going to officially announce it. It's called Project Helix. And so it gives us another excuse to once again talk about a project shutdown. Brutal. Um, yeah, I think I'm literally on the last mission in Requiem. If I can say that right. Very close to beating it. Haven't beaten it yet. It literally says I'm like 94% done. So I'm like, okay. Pretty sure I have like probably 30 minutes left of the game. It's just been tough. I've been trying to sit down and game when I can, but I've been I've been trying to just get like 20 to 40-minute gameplay sessions in for Resident Evil where I can. Everybody doubts it, saying Xbox is dead and now the other console is coming soon. And Jake Skew comes in. Jake, what is up, man? Thank you so much. Thank you for keeping me up to date, by the way, with all the gaming news. He comes in. He drops a member gift for you guys. Let's get some W's in the chat for Jake, kicking us off today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, before we dive into any of the conversations, if you guys want to support the channel, you know what to do. Become a member, member gifts, super chats, direct donations. These are all ways in which you can support the content and the channel. I can't do it without your support, so thank you all so much. And as I say that, we have Mini Tom official. Mini Tom comes in and says, here we go, man. I'm going to open the first 5-pack of the night, and he brings us to 6 already. So Mini Tom, thank you, bro. Thank you for waiting patiently as well. I know it's a little bit late for you, man. No, Whiskey Gaming, this is not the new normal time. It might be like this for a couple of weeks, but no. I just have basically have like a bit of a basement renovation thing going on at the moment, and I can't move my setup. Um, I may still try to do regularly scheduled streams. Um, in like the next week or two. It's not the normal time. It's not the new normal. That's what I'm trying to say. And Whiskey Gaming uses his milestone. He's been a member for 60 months at Play Has No Limits Plus. So the highest here. And he says, hey, I hit 60 months. Well, big congratulations for that, Whiskey. That's huge, man. Thank you so much for being a long-time member. Yeah, shout out to all of my members, especially you guys that have been, yeah, you got the badge, man. You got the badge. I love it. Especially you guys that have been members for a long time. I really, really appreciate that long-term support. It's meant a lot. It still means a lot. So thank you for that. But yeah, man, no worries. This is not going to be the normal. I mean, some people would probably like this to be the normal stream time. It's definitely not ideal for me, personally. But I have to work around certain stuff right now, and I also have a lot of things going on outside of that stuff. So, uh, celebration time? I don't know, man. I don't know. Is it celebration that we got to celebrate the Xbox Helix? I guess they always call it Project Helix. We got to celebrate Xbox Helix, bro. We're gonna talk about this though. We are gonna talk about, um, what is Microsoft saying about this new console, this new device? You could sleep after the stream. Well, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. And holy shit, bro. Yo, what? Celebrate. I didn't know that's what you meant, Whiskey. I didn't know that's what Whiskey Gaming meant when he said celebration time. I thought he's celebrating his 60 months. 60 months. He drops a 50 on you guys. He opens a 50 pack, bro.
Holy shit.
I gotta go get my dumbbell. Well, I actually can't get my dumbbells right now. The only thing I could do is feed the beast. Everything is off limits. Wow, man. I am shocked. I was not expecting that. Whiskey Gaming, thank you so much, man. He's very psyched for the new Xbox. Yeah. That he's so pumped for it, bro. That's crazy. Guys, we need W's in the chat for Whiskey Gaming right now. He just came into this evening stream and just is like, we're going to do it. And he drops 10 more for you guys. He's not done. Whiskey Gaming's not done. Damn, bro. Absolutely huge. This man just dropped 60 member gifts on you guys before we even get the show started. Jake, thank you for that, man. Whiskey, man, I don't even know what to say. I got to give him a...
PlayStation has been defining the
Gotta give him
gaming
an
industry
Ashino.
for the past 3 decades.
I got to give him...
This is an incredibly
Herman.
exciting time for PlayStation.
And I got to give him crazy That's Whiskey Gaming, bro. He says 60 months, 60 gifts. Well, that's incredibly kind of you, man. You definitely didn't have to do that, but I certainly do appreciate it, man. That means a lot. This is what I mean. We have such awesome viewers and such awesome people here. The generosity, I never want it to come off like I take it for granted or like it's expected. And so that Whiskey, the fact that you decided to celebrate you supporting me for 60 months is to drop 60 member gifts, I'm humbled, man. So thank you so much, bro. And just again, shout out to this community. You guys are awesome. It's such a crazy thing that I stream at a certain time every day, but hey, something comes up, I'm streaming later, you guys are still showing up. I can start a stream whenever, you guys are showing up. I appreciate that. I do. So I'll try not to go on and on here, but guys, Whiskey Gaming just secured basically multiple goals there. And Mini Tom Official's feeling it too. He dropped 5 earlier. He's dropping 5 more. Guys, we are at 71 members. Damn. I got to delay the streams more often by 30 minutes. It's good luck. That's crazy, guys. Thank you. I don't deserve you guys. You guys are too kind, really. Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see if we hit 75 today before it's all said and done. You guys are wild. Hold on here. Why is that glitching out? Oh, there we go. Well, there you go, guys. If you got a member gifted to you, make sure you send some thanks to Whiskey Gaming and Mini Tom Official and anybody else who dropped some member gifts. Like I said, I've been cooling it on the members content, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I do think that there is something behind the members content stuff where people were saying that members content is bad for your channel, it's bad for the YouTube algorithm. I didn't really believe it. I can't help but notice that ever since we stopped doing members content, like members only content, the algorithm has been shifting for me a little bit. So I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to figure something out here, but either way, I know you guys will still support, and that means everything. All right, I got to get a move on here. I'm sorry. Just lingering too much. Can't help it. You guys are awesome. We do need to talk about, we used to call it Project Magnus, but truthfully, apparently, that was just a code name for the APU that's inside of the new device. The actual project name is Project Helix, which is interesting. I really, for some reason, I did think Magnus was the actual code name of the device as well. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if I can get any cats in here. And so, yeah, Xbox Series H. No, I don't know. They're continuing to call it a console, which I find interesting because everything that we've heard about this device, it doesn't really seem like it's an actual console. It's more like a PC, but I don't know. There's still many details we lack. Xbox Series L. Muffin, thank you for that. You're saying I'm awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. The next Xbox can't charge for online and has other storefronts. How do they make money when Steam has sales all the time? Well, I mean, that's the thing, man. Everything that we've been hearing about this, I want to keep calling it Project Magnus, but Project Helix. You have to get used to that. Everything we've heard about this device, I don't think Microsoft's trying to make money on anything other than the point of sale. It seems pretty clear to me that this device is not going to be subsidized. It will have other storefronts, like you said. Here you go, Clark. Clark's first up. It will have other storefronts. They will no longer, I mean, you're saying they will no longer be able to charge for online, but that's not necessarily true. They can still charge for multiplayer on the Xbox side of things if they want to. And I'm going to say they probably still will. I could be wrong. I mean, it does seem really strange and redundant to do that if you're offering Steam and Epic Game Store and all that, and you can run full-blown Windows. But we do have to remember the reason why Microsoft is still calling this device a console is because, like, when Project Helix releases, let's say holiday 2027, when that happens, let's say you buy it, you hook it up to your TV in your living room, it's going to boot up like a normal Xbox. You know what I mean? It's going to have a console layer to it where if you are like somebody who's coming from the Xbox Series, you buy this thing, you hook it up, you don't have to interact with Windows 11. You don't have to treat it like a PC. You can just treat it like a console. That's my understanding of this device. I could be wrong. I mean, those are just the details that we've heard, and things could change. But I think the idea is they want anybody who's coming from the Xbox console and buys this thing to, to feel like you're just. Capono says he sounds worried. I'm very worried. I'm very, very worried. No, I just think the idea is Microsoft wants Xbox console players, whoever sticks with them going into this new device, to not feel scared off by the idea that it's like, hey, uh, it's a Windows 11 PC, you're PC gamer now. I think they want them to feel like, yeah, it's still an Xbox console, but it's an Xbox console that can run that, Windows 11 is there and you could do everything on a PC or on this device that you could do on a PC. I'm just saying this because I guess my best guess here is that Microsoft is going to still charge, for multiplayer, or they're still going to have like the more traditional Xbox experience that the people who are still playing on Series consoles right now kind of expect. I could be wrong. Like I said, they're not revealing everything today, but I do want to refer to the new Xbox CEO or gaming CEO at Microsoft, Asha Sharma. She says 2 hours ago on her Twitter, great start to the morning with Team Xbox, where we talked about our commitment to the return of Xbox, including Project Helix, the code name for our next generation console. Project Helix will lead in performance and player Xbox and PC games. Looking forward to chatting about this more with partners and studios at my first GDC next week. So we probably will be seeing a significant amount of leaks for this device in the next week or two after, sometime around and after GDC, because she does state here that they're going to be talking all about it. And I'm sure developers are going to leak things. But but yeah, I think they're trying to get ahead of that. Moore's Law is Dead seems to think this will be a minimum of $1,200. I don't think the next Xbox is going to be doing any big numbers. Well, that's the thing here, right? We've talked so much about the PlayStation 6. We continue to talk extensively about the console market and what the future of the console market looks like. What does next gen look like? I will say the timing of this is fascinating to me because, I mean, like, what are the chances Xbox gets a new CEO, Phil Spencer retires? The next week, there's just rumors galore from reputable sources claiming Sony's done putting their single player games onto PC. They're pulling back from PC. And then almost immediately after that, this new Xbox that, I mean, let's face it, to me, this device is more of a PC than a console, but they're still calling it a console. It seems like Microsoft, from a marketing perspective, is going to aggressively push that this is a next gen console. Um, that's the read I'm getting on this right out of the gate. So, you know, we have to consider the fact that when we were talking about Magnus before this, Project Helix was announced, people were basically celebrating the fact that, well, when I say people, I mean a lot of Xbox players were celebrating the fact that, yo, this thing's going to be really expensive, but that's okay because I'm going to have all games. I'm going to get Xbox games, but I'm also going to get Steam, and because of that, I'm going to get PlayStation games. And there was this kind of question that popped up, and it's a pretty simple question, natural question: is Sony okay with that? Like, does Sony have any kind of problem with Steam being on the next generation Xbox, or what people will talk about as the next generation Xbox? We have a super chat from Alex who says Microsoft is reportedly planning to X consoles or 2X consoles and go full third party. Oh, let me try this again. Microsoft is reportedly planning to X consoles and go full third party with xCloud being the only platform for Xbox. You're saying that that's what Sneakers SO said, LOL. Glad that he's wrong. When did he say that? Was that recent or was that like an older thing that he said? And then Mr. Veggie with a $5 chat says they will fuck it up as usual. What hardware has Microsoft made that hasn't flopped harder than my wiener on SSRIs? This is what happens when I don't pre-read my super chats, Mr. Veggie. I appreciate the. It's okay. It's okay. That's Mr. Veggie. You're kind of not wrong though. You're not wrong. God, I was not expecting that as a follow up to what the first super chat said though. Alex, with your super chat, um, I do think Microsoft's going to get more aggressive with xCloud over time, but I feel like at one point in time that could have been true just because Microsoft mainly made their money through cloud, but now they're really invested in um in AI, right? So AI could absolutely, overtake the cloud push, and that'll be more development focused, but yeah, I don't know when he said that. And yeah, Mr. Veggie, with your super chat here, I I think something we should probably establish early on. We already kind of did, but now that it's becoming more real, and by that I mean it's actually been announced by Microsoft. It's not just a leak coming from a source saying here's the Xbox Magnus API, here's what we're hearing. Now that it's becoming real, I think we do need to establish, unless there's some kind of massive fundamental change in Microsoft's philosophy at this point in time when it comes to gaming, I don't think they're planning for this device to be a mass market console. I think everything that we know about this upcoming I'm gonna I'm just gonna call it a console. Everything we know about this upcoming console, it tells us that Microsoft is they seemingly are just taking this kind of indifferent approach. Now, the indifference doesn't come through with what they're saying. They're making it seem like they care very much. We're the new Xbox CEO is like, we're returning the console. We're doing it, right? And we're getting back to what Xbox is all about. And it's like that all sounds great, but but if everything we've heard about this device is true, where it's like, wait, how big is this APU? How powerful is this device going to be? And this is all happening during a component crisis, a RAM crisis. How much is this thing going to be? And everybody who's in the know is saying this is easily going to be more than $1,000. And the only alternative here is that Microsoft, and this is why I said unless there's a fundamental shift, the only alternative is they're willing to subsidize the cost somehow. They're not going to do that. You especially can't do that if you're bringing other storefronts into your console. You can't do that. Jimmy Mac 88 with a $5 chat says Xbox will launch Helix about 2 years before the PS6 and drop the price to be more competitive with the PS6 or when the PS6 comes out. I don't think Sony would let that happen. I mean, again, the problem with your super chat, Jimmy Mac, I like it. I like where you're coming from. That to me, that sounds more like something similar to like the Xbox 360 days where they want to get out. Did I miss Jake's super chat? Hold on. I'm sorry. Oh, Jake Skew, I'm sorry, buddy. My bad, dude. This is what happens. Sometimes the chat goes so fast. Jake Skew, I apologize, bro. I missed your $2 super chat. You're saying, how have you been? My birthday was yesterday. I'm 30 now. Well, Jake Skew, happy belated birthday, man. I hope you had a good one. And yeah, the big 3-0. I know how you feel. I'm 32. I've been good, dude. I've been good. Just a little bit stressed, only because I got a lot going on right now. Outside of what I do on YouTube, nothing like bad, just hectic, chaotic. I'm trying to keep up. So, but mostly, things are going good. So, again, happy belated birthday, Jake. And I'm sorry I missed your super chat, Lady Gamer. Thank you for pointing that out. 100%, both consoles will be overpriced. Well, all right. So getting back to what Jimmy Mack was saying here, I like what you're saying because your super chat insinuates Microsoft is trying to be heavily competitive in the console space. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jake. You were sick. That sucks, bro. We'll get well soon. It insinuates they're trying to be competitive. And I mean, look, the only thing I can say, because I want to speak more definitively, but there's something that's stopping me. The thing that's stopping me is the fact that there is a new CEO at Xbox. And, I am leaning more towards things are not going to fundamentally change under this new CEO. I don't think that this new CEO, Asha Sharma, is going to come in and say, well, I'm going to do what Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond wouldn't, and that is try to make the next generation Xbox a mass market success and highly compete against the PlayStation console as well as the Nintendo Switch. I don't think she's going to do that because I don't think she can do that. Because you have to ask yourself this question: how could, at this point in time, Microsoft make any Xbox console for that matter? I mean, they still have the Series S and the Series X. The Series S got 2 price increases. How are they going to make their next device a mass market success? I don't think anybody has the answer to that question because the answer doesn't really exist. The answer is you can't. Your hands are tied, so to speak, right? Like the seeds have been sown, I guess, where it's like Microsoft had multiple console generations to try to figure this out. And the closest they got was with the Xbox 360, and that was mainly because of Sony's screw up. It was a golden opportunity for Microsoft. They seized it, but even then the PS3 made a massive comeback. And so in this 25-year history of Xbox, you've seen so many different executives, so much leadership, shifting over the years, and no one could really truly make it happen consistently. What would lead somebody to think that this new Xbox CEO is suddenly going to have a light bulb moment where it's like, I'm going to do something that nobody else thought of? I don't I don't think that's going to happen. And that's not to say that this device won't have its place. I do think Project Helix will have its place as a very premium but very niche device, kind of similar to what we see with the Xbox ROG Ally. I think that gives us a good idea. Although I do think it will do better than that because this is a more traditional box. It's not a handheld. $1,000 handheld at that. But yeah, I do think that when we see the price of this console announced, it's likely going to be over $1,000. When talking about the PlayStation 6, I'm sorry if I sound overly redundant, if it sounds like I'm repeating myself, but it's certainly relevant to this conversation. The PlayStation 6 is not going to be $1,000. The PlayStation 6 is not going to be $800. The PlayStation 6 is not going to be competing with Project Helix. Now, listen, is that going to stop us? And by us, I mean the gaming community as a collective from still talking about it that way. No, it's not. It's not going to stop us because we're used to it. It's what we know. We expect Xbox and Sony, in the console space, in the hardware space, we expect them to be rivals. We expect them to be always going at one another. And there will be a little bit of that here and there in very small amounts, but it's not going to be anything compared to what it was. And I think Microsoft's going to set the tone very early. I think that's why they're announcing Project Helix right now, because I do think, and this is one of my bigger predictions here, I do think Project Helix is coming out next year. I don't think it's going to get delayed. And the reason I believe that is because they're already willing to announce it now and make it official now and publicly announce that they're going to start talking to developers at GDC this upcoming week, getting them prepared. It's not that Sony isn't doing similar things behind the scenes, they are, but they're doing it in that way, right? They're doing it behind the scenes. They're not trying to inform anybody of the PlayStation 6. And, we've gotten multiple rumors of a potential PlayStation 6 delay, but there's also the fact that Sony's still selling consoles. The PS5, the PS5 Pro are still selling. And they have maybe their biggest year yet with GTA 6 coming out. So Sony doesn't want to get in their own way. That's true, Tarnished. That's true. That's true. I hear you. Relax. It's all good. It's all good. With the price of hardware only going up, these will definitely be $800 systems. Well, that's the thing, dude. Like, Sony would have to subsidize the PS6 because we all need to understand something. The PS6 needs to be a mass market success. I'm underlining the word and I'm highlighting the word needs. It needs to be. Sony needs that. That's non-negotiable for Sony. Sony can't be in a position where, well, I guess it's okay if the PS6 doesn't tap into the mass market. I guess it's okay if it sells soft. Like, no, that's doomsday for Sony. Like, what do you mean? We need this to be extremely successful. We need tens of millions of people to get PS6s in their homes. Sony is willing. I firmly believe this. Sony is willing to do what is necessary to make that happen, even if that means short-term losses. Because what do you think the alternative is? You know what? Like, what is seriously for a company like for Sony with PlayStation? What is the alternative? Microsoft's already dealing with that alternative right now. This is what Microsoft. Sony will do whatever it takes to avoid going through what Microsoft just went through over the last 4 years or 5 years. Sony will do whatever it takes because now if you want to know what the alternative is, it's what Xbox has turned into now. And it's been rough. It's been very rough. Fred, you're saying MBG, I think the pricing, if it is at $1,000 plus, it may be the reason to look at investors and say we need to exit hardware due to poor sales. I mean, yeah. I mean, I do believe Microsoft is not, their heart's not in it, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't think Microsoft's heart is in the hardware space. And I think that's abundantly obvious. But they can't just completely ignore the fact that, well, we did sell like 28 million units. That's, let's face it, that's nothing compared to the PlayStation 5 and the Switch, but it's still 28 million is 28 million, man. I don't think that's something you just throw in the garbage, so to speak, or light on fire. I think that's something you try to extract, you try to monetize that. That's what you try to do. If you have an install base of 28 million, you may no longer be competitive in this market, but you still have a monetizable base. And I think that right there is the kind of little twist with Project Helix, where it's like, yes, this thing is going to be $1,200, and you're going to see people melt down. You're going to see the internet get very upset. But that's the thing, is it's like, yeah, this was never meant for you. The people you see right now, day one, even though they already know, like, this thing's going to be like over $1,000, and they're like, I don't care. Day one, that's who Microsoft's trying to get, because you know what that means. If the RAM crisis is so out of control, that's like we got to charge $1,500 for this thing. There are going to be people who buy it, and Microsoft's going to make money up front. Yeah, we only sold 5 million of these things. We made a profit on every one sold. That will justify the existence of the hardware. Anything after that is just, oh yeah, we still have some people buying games on Xbox storefront. We still have some people subscribe to Game Pass. So it's just a matter of maintaining the monetization of that install base, in any way they can. And the Genius 200X with the $10 chat says Microsoft didn't say anything. Microsoft didn't say anything we didn't already know. Also, let's say this piece of trash. Let's say this piece of trash can play console games. Why would a dev make two versions of a game if it can run Steam OS? This is just false hype. Well, that's the thing, man. Microsoft has been signaling for some time that they're going full-blown publisher mode, and they're doing that because that's where the money's being made. What you just said, why would a dev make two versions? You're going to eventually see, unless, no, hey, don't, hold on, Clark, you got to get down. You're being real bad. Oh, not now, dude. Sorry. He almost just knocked a freaking TV over. Microsoft, I think, has been signaling for quite some time that they are okay with their own their own platform and storefront kind of being pushed to the side in favor of higher profit margins through publishing, especially of their successful live service games. So, Genius, I think you do, you ask a question here that I think, we might have some answers to in the coming weeks, because that's the thing. What you just asked, I'm sure devs are going to be asking the same questions at GDC. Like, devs are probably going to be asking, like, can we just make one version? And the answer to that question will be yeah. Yeah, if you just want to make your version for Steam and PC, you could do that. It'll still be available on this device. I think Microsoft's going to try to encourage them to make Xbox versions, but But yeah, if you're a dev, man, like these are questions you're going to start asking. Like, is it really worth making a a dedicated Xbox version? And PS on the brain, you're saying Sony can charge $800. Where else will people go? Nowhere. Okay, can you guys hear Boss? He's like screaming. Yeah, that's true. Whiskey Gaming, you're saying they will stay on PS5. That's what they'll do. Well, that exactly. That's the whole thing here, right? Is people and PS on the brain, you're not wrong for thinking that because that's a natural thing that people go to where it's like, well, if the next Xbox is like $1,000, then if Sony comes out with an $800 PS6, Sony will be able to be like, we're $200 less. But that's the problem. If Sony does that, well, now Sony is their own worst enemy. It's like, bro, that's great that you're $200 less than this really super premium Xbox PC thing. But now you just made the PS5, you made the PS5 the go-to console. You know what I mean? And that's at least that's my take on that where like the only alternative, all right, listen. The only alternative here is that Sony could come out with an $800 PS6, which would be, God, that would be so disastrous in my eyes. But they could do that. And it will be made clear that we expect this thing to sell minimally up front because we're still going to be pushing the PS5 aggressively. And that's part of the plan. In the coming years, PS6 3 years in, now we're moving away from the PS5. PS6 gets like a $200 price cut, permanent, $600 now. Again, that would be basically like a soft relaunch of the PS6 at almost the halfway point of the gen. Which again, that to me sounds nuts. Like I'm not sure why you would. I don't know why Sony would opt to do that unless they just truly felt pressured. Like we just got to get this thing out there. But it's like that approach just wouldn't make sense to me because it's like, no, 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 no. This is your next gen console. Like you can't just push it out there. You got to have a plan. You got to really know what you need to do to make this successful. And the the only other thing, even if Sony completely discontinued the PS5, or like we're not making any more PS5s, so your only option is to upgrade to the PS6, dude. There's still going to be over 100 million PS5s out there that people are going to be like, I'm good. I'm good. Oh, $800? I'm good. I'll wait till it's 600 or 500. I'll wait till the price decreases. And that's I do think that's the big thing. That right there is why I don't think Project Helix is going to be, other than the fact that it will offer Steam, a major factor for Sony to consider. I think the only factor Sony really had to consider was Steam and the fact that, wait, we're putting our games on Steam. So that means this next Xbox device, you're going to see, you already see the narratives. It's not even a narrative, but the headlines and people saying like, I'll have my PlayStation games on my Xbox, and I don't think Sony wants that to get out of hand where it's like, how much damage would that do realistically if this device is over $1,000? Probably none. But why take the chance when you look at the money you're making from PC ports? Just don't take the risk. Just don't even worry about it. Stop the headlines from being written before they can even be written. Get ahead of it. I think that's what Sony's doing internally right now, based off of the reports that we're getting. I think Sony. I've said it before. I'll say it again. From the PlayStation side of things, Sony is going to be their own worst enemy because the PS5 is going to be the biggest. The PS5 is going to be the biggest thorn in the PlayStation 6's side. And that's funny to think. PS on the brain, you're saying handheld will be their cheaper option for PS6. I will say, Moore's Law is dead. The individual who has leaked the majority, the overwhelming majority of information we got about the PlayStation 6, he kept saying, and he probably still says it to this day, based off of the APU and the specifications of the PlayStation 6 handheld, he he thinks that Sony could, if they really wanted to, like produce basically a PlayStation 6S. And he said numerous times he thinks they should do that. And I don't know if I agree, but here's something that we do need to keep in mind, and you do point out something good here, PlayStation on the brain. When he leaked all the information about the PlayStation handheld, one of the things that was leaked by him was it will be dockable. So you take that and you combine it with the fact, so what is the power factor of the PlayStation handheld? The power factor of the PlayStation handheld is essentially it's the equivalent of a PS5. Essentially. You know, it's like a little bit less than that, but then you're not factoring in the RDNA 5 technologies that do the heavy lifting on the software side, not the hardware side. We don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of it here, but the idea is it can essentially produce the same results that a base PS5, maybe even a little bit above, depending on how much developers leverage that RDNA 5 software technology, maybe even a little bit more. You can kind of begin to see how, like, what you're saying here that could be a play, man, where it's like, oh, no, we have a cheaper option. Okay. Can you guys stop? My cats are fighting and battling. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just trying to. Come on, come get your treats. Come on. Raven, I'll read your super chats. Give me one sec, bud. Raven, you're saying this Xbox PC is not gonna be lower than $1,200 at best. There's no 360 revival. This ain't their big comeback like the PS3. Microsoft is PC and third party. I agree. I agree completely, Raven. And you know, like I said, we are conditioned to talk about Microsoft and Sony as rivals. We will continue to do so just until we as time goes on, it will lessen more and more. But yeah, you're not wrong. This is not a 360 versus PS3 moment. This is not even an Xbox One or Series versus PS4, PS5 moment. Will it make toast though? Will it toast? Listen, they better have a Project Helix toaster. Okay. All right, my cat. I don't know what is happening right now, bro. My cats are getting all riled up. Leia's over here freaking out. Come on, boss. Come get your treats. Boss is acting scared. Project Toilet, bro. What is wrong with you guys? Project Toilet, bro. Ain't no way. The cats are excited. The cats. Boss, come on. Oh my god, I'm thirsty. Sorry, I'm not sure. Not sure why I'm so thirsty. It's all this Xbox talk, this X slop. Let me see here. But yeah, Raven, I agree with you. This thing's gonna be premium. It's gonna be niche. It's also gonna be a PC. And Microsoft they're more focused on third party publishing. So okay. Mr. Veggie says, why do so many tards think Mr. Veggie's unhinged tonight? Why do so many tards think Astrobot will go to Switch 2? Yeah, so actually I do want to tell you guys about something. There was a leak that came out today, if I can find it. Where is it? Okay, yeah, so Kiwi Talks. Kiwi Talks says the decision to port Lego Horizon Adventures to the Switch was actually mandated by the Lego Group. He says Lego Horizon only released on Switch because it was mandated by the Lego Group. No, this is not an educated guess. It's info that I know. Sony views Nintendo as direct competition. So, yeah, man, my guess is that so many individuals think that something like Astrobot will go to Switch 2 because they put Lego Horizon on Switch, and because, you know, Astrobot seems like a game that would sell pretty well on the Switch. I Beyond that though, like, yeah, I don't know why people would assume that so heavily. From my perspective, Sony has made it pretty clear that Astrobot is their that is their mascot now, and I it would be very strange, it would truly be bizarre to see Sony be like, yeah, we're gonna put our mascot on the Nintendo Switch, knowing that Nintendo would never reciprocate ever. I just, you know, you also consider the fact that Hideaki Nishino is the new head of Sony Interactive Entertainment, and he clearly sees Nintendo as more competition than Jim Ryan ever did. That's for sure. Imagine playing a game on Switch and you're rescuing parts to rebuild a PS5. Yeah, that's the thing too. I don't think Nintendo would allow it. You're right. You're completely right. I didn't even think about that. Jake, thank you for the emails, buddy. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't even consider that, Fred. Nintendo would be like, oh hell no. Although interestingly enough, Kena Bridge of Spirits is coming to Switch 2. That was recently. I think that was just announced today. So, but yeah, that's not a Sony owned IP or property. Pretty sure it's not. Yeah, I don't think Sony owns Kena. Astrobot is to PS5 what Mario 64 is to Nintendo. It ain't going anywhere. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of my read on it, man. Is I think Sony, I'm not trying to be too, over the top with it, but I think Sony does kind of view Astrobot as like, damn, this is our Mario. Like, it's early, it's the early days. It's going to take many, many years to really grow Astrobot into something much bigger, but humble beginnings, but a solid beginning nonetheless, I would say. What about the UI of the PS6? That's a good question, Perfect Image. Will there be look, if it was up to me, bring back the XMB. They won't do that. That'll never happen. But, you know, I I feel like with the PS6 there'll probably be a somewhat, I don't know, the PS5 UI is pretty good. They got to bring folders. That's what people have been asking for. If they don't bring folders with the PS6, it's over. High Gord. Oh my god. High Gord. High Guard had more player. Wait. No way. Oh, yeah. High Guard had more players than Marathon. What's Marathon at? I haven't even been paying attention. High Gord flopped. PS on the brain, you're saying won't port, but Astro would 100% sell more on the Switch than PlayStation. Well, yeah, I agree with that. I think Astro would probably, like, if there was a alternate universe where Sony and Nintendo agreed to that, I think it would sell more on Switch, because I mean, dude, that Nintendo players eat games like that up, bro. PlayStation players do too, but to a much smaller degree. Um, yeah, people would be all over that, absolutely, and that's why people were thinking, oh, it might happen, because Sony just wants more game sales. But that's where I think Sony needs to be wise and understand that, well, in the same, for the same reason that Nintendo doesn't put Mario on your PlayStation, you should understand that it would be best if you didn't put your Astrobot on their Nintendo console. It's at 85K on Steam on launch. This is the 5th day since gamers have been able to play it. Let me go check this out. Marathon Steam concurrent. Yeah, I kind of forgot Marathon. Well, no, I didn't forget, because I posted about it on Twitter today, but then I kind of forgot about it again. Okay, so it peaked at 86,718 players on Steam. Well, that's not bad, but it does make you question, how hard is this drop off going to be? I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Anybody who's playing Marathon paid $40 for it or more if they bought the deluxe edition. I don't think the drop off will be something crazy. Like, I don't think you're going to see this go from 86,000 players to like 15,000 tomorrow or the next 3 days. That'd be crazy if that happened because people paid for this game. I think if there is going to be a major drop off with Marathon, it will happen in the I think it'll take a couple months at the very least. I think the people who bought the game will be back for season 1 and season 2. But when I look at this number in terms of the longevity of Marathon, can Marathon grow? Can they get past their 86,000 player peak? That I think is the more pertinent question here, and my answer to that is good luck. I don't think so. I think this might be as good as it gets for Marathon. And what I will say is unless something happens in the next 4 to 5 days, which I don't think it will, it's safe to say this is definitely not a Helldivers moment. This is not a Concord moment. Marathon is doing exactly what I thought it would. If you guys have been following me, we're going to get back to the Xbox talk, but just as a little aside here, I've been saying this whole time, like, I don't think Marathon's going to be a mega flop like Concord, but I certainly don't think it's going to be a big mega hit like Helldivers. I think it's probably going to land somewhere right in between, where it's like it's okay. The roadmap's looking pretty fire. I did read a little bit about it yesterday when I was covering it in a video, but I didn't actually like look too deeply into it. But I think Marathon will stick around for quite some time. I think, truthfully, though, if Sony wants to maximize their investment into Bungie, they're going to have to get them guys. Let's start working on Destiny 3 as a PlayStation 6 title. Uh, and then, I'm sure it'll be multi-platform, but you know what I'm saying. Like, we really got to start working on Destiny 3. That's what we got to do. It's too sweaty. Yeah, I was thinking about playing it when they were doing the server slam, but I'm like, I'm good, dude. Honestly, I haven't been really playing multiplayer games for like months. The last multiplayer game I played was Fox Hunt. Put like 100 hours in that, and ever since then, I just kind of like been single player only, and it's weird because I'm like, huh, I'm used to always playing multiplayer games. This is what it's like to not have like a go-to multiplayer. I'm sure I'll get back to something eventually. I'm going to play a Ghost of Yotei Legends. I'm going to play that, but outside of that, I don't know. I'll play like GTA Online when that comes out for GTA 6. I am kind of interested in, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what Modern Warfare 4 looks like. I don't know. I might be just like tapped out of Call of Duty at this point. We'll see. Am I going to play Hunter's Gathering? No. No, man. Definitely not. Shadowlink, you're saying, what the hell, MVG? Why silly? I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. So, Shadowlink, I was telling everybody earlier, so I got a lot going on right now. Like, the biggest reason why I'm streaming later and why I might have to continue to stream later for the next couple weeks is because my streaming setup right now is in my basement. I think a lot of you know that already. And there's like major work being done in my basement. And most of that work is occurring, unfortunately, at the time that I normally stream. And, I tried streaming the other day while it was happening. And you guys probably didn't notice a big difference because, I had my sound gate really low. So barely anything came through. But on my end, I could barely, my brain was like done. It was so hard to focus. It was so hard to, it's like being done literally right next to me. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to, I think, change my schedule temporarily, but this is not permanent. I just want to keep emphasizing that. I mean, I don't mind doing some evening streams at times. I'm trying to look at this as a good opportunity for people who normally can't watch the streams live. They can come in, but when we go back to normal, you guys will know. All right, I'll let you know. when everything's done and everything's wrapped up, and we'll go back to our normal, you know, 12 p.m. Eastern is when I usually go live. So sorry about that, man. But I'm glad you still stopped by. You found the stream, which is good. For us Euro peeps, it's difficult. I know. I'm making a Helix shrine. That's it. How'd you know, Carl? How'd you know, bro? You think the timing is just coincidental? No, no. Who was it that said? Somebody in my when you were hearing that work in the background on one of my last streams, were like, "Yo, next streaming setup is gonna be crazy." But I appreciate you guys. Prince, you're enjoying it. Good. Yeah, I appreciate you guys bearing with me. It's strange for me too. It's strange for me too. Don't forget to upgrade to the Helix toaster. I know, man. I know. I was thinking about getting that Series X mini fridge, but now I'm like, I don't know. Helix right around the corner. You see that trash Forza gameplay, PS2 graphics, but PS on the brain. Now you're just fanboying. You're fake fanboying, bro. I see you. Now I watched a little bit of that Forza gameplay, and God, dude, I can't think about it because you know what I think about every time I see Forza. I'm like, oh yeah, that's coming out this holiday, this fall, and I'm like, no, man, no. Like, why? What are you doing to me? Come on, man. This fall's like, look at how insane this fall's looking. I get a pass this time. You have to shower and sleep and got to be up at 3:35 a.m. Oh, you dropping some gifts? Yo, we got Shadowlink dropping gifts in the evening. Yo, you're getting up at 3:35. Why are you getting up at 3:35 a.m.? That's crazy. But Shadowlink, I have a question. If you're getting up at 3:35, what time are you going to bed? Like now? Is this your Shadowlink? Is this your bedtime? That's crazy, bro. And there he is, Shadowlink. He comes in, he drops 10 for you guys. He did it. He takes us over the 75 mark. Shadowlink does it again. He's shadow drop. There we go. I gotta get used to saying that. Shadowlink. Here we go. Got that Astro PS1 between 6 and 7, sometimes 8. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I mean, I guess you're used to it though. I assume you've been getting up at 3:35 at such a specific time. You've been getting up at 3:35 for many years at this point. Man, that's tough. But thank you, bro. I appreciate you stopping by and deciding you wanted to drop a couple gifts while you're at it. That brings us to 81 members on the day. Thank you all so much. We'll cap it at 100. All right. I don't know if we'll hit 100, but that's usually where we cap it. We might. We're 19 away, so thank you guys. Wait. So actually, perfect image. I can't grab. That's the thing. I'm eager, for this whole project that's going on. I'm eager for it to. I don't know when it's gonna wrap up. It's still got some time, but I can't do anything. I can't like work out. All my weight. You guys have no idea what it looks like around me right now. You don't even know what this is right here. You don't even know what this is. But yeah. All right. Shadowlink, thank you again, man. And yeah, get some rest, bro. If you're getting up that early. Do they expect Forza Horizon 6 to go toe to toe with GTA 6? Well, no, Forza Horizon 6 is coming out May, and they said the PS5 version is coming, I think, this fall. So, I mean, it could be like October, September, October. But that's the thing, man. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I mean that. Where it's like right now it's okay because I got Resident Evil, and there's definitely some March games coming. There's Crimson Desert coming. But when you start to look at the kind of like fall holiday season, I mean, you're looking at like 2 to 3 AAA, like what you would consider maybe must play games launching like on a weekly basis, practically, leading into GTA 6. And it's just like, okay, how are we going to play? there's still time for games to be delayed, but I almost feel like, bro, I would rather Forza Horizon 6 come out like February 2027 on PlayStation. Like I would literally rather it be delayed than have to deal with trying to such a first world problem, I know that, but then to sit there and be like, well, I'm playing Wolverine and Phantom Blade Zero and and GTA 6 is coming up. It's like I got to try to squeeze Forza in here somewhere. And there's Fable. Fable looks pretty good too. So it's tough, man. Gamer problems. All the people that were going to be in Forza standing watching the races had to be put in Fable. It looks like that in the gameplay video. What? Well, yeah, let's get back. So I strayed a little bit there. A little bit of a side quest. Here, so guys, I gotta grab a drink real quick because I'm like dying of thirst for some reason. So I'm gonna be gone for a couple seconds, but when I come back, um, I want to continue to talk about Project Helix and whether or not this device is worth actually being truly excited over, and whether or not this is actually gonna be some kind of return to what chance does Xbox really have here? I also want to see what people are saying, how people are reacting to this. Let me see. So, hold on. I'll grab my drink in a second. Yeah, Project Helix is trending. All right, guys, I'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that. Whew. Felt like run up and down those steps, man. All right. Let's see where I'm at here. So yeah, I want to go check some of the reactions to this Project Helix. Helix. I said Helix. New Helix poster. Wait, what? The Xbox Helix will face intense competition from Asus, Lenovo, Dell, MSI, and the Steam Machine. Almost all of them will release a mini PC console thing. Yeah. Well, keep in mind, what we've heard is that Microsoft is planning to license out Xbox to the Xbox to pretty much all those manufacturers, like all those companies. They're going to all be allowed to make their own version of an Xbox, higher end, lower end. It seems like they're going to kind of saturate the market with these devices. And that's another reason why I think, when that happens, if that happens, it's the conversation is not going to be, oh, the PlayStation 6 versus the Xbox Helix, because there's going to be like 15 different versions or something. You have a feeling Valve will make it easy for OEM manufacturers to utilize the Steam OS and knock out the Xbox full screen experience Windows machine. Well, that's another thing. People are thinking that the competition between this upcoming Helix console is going to be more so with Steam OS. And I've also seen some people think that PlayStation's going to have to be more worried about Steam and their Steam machine than even what Xbox is doing with Helix. But let's see. All right, so I'm on Twitter. It says Project Helix is trending. I'm checking. All right. Xbox PC hybrid. I don't know. Like somebody earlier, somebody was saying there's like hype right now. Is there hype right now? Is like I'm honestly asking because I'm not seeing much. I mean, I've seen a couple people on my profiles or my tweets saying like day one, but I don't know. I haven't seen much else. Fake hype? Is it? You think it's fake hype? I mean, I know there are people genuinely excited for it. There are people who are genuinely anticipating this device. I know that because some of these people they do come to my channel, and they tell me, and they're not being like fanboys about it. They're just saying like, yeah, I'm excited for it. But the hype was short lived. PS on the brain, you're saying, how is PlayStation in competition with PCs? I I personally don't really believe they are. I want to say in like any meaningful way. I think there's like a low level of competition. I think there's a lower level of like, well, Sony can't completely ignore like what's going on in the PC space. Clearly, they haven't been. But yeah, it's like when we had our conversation yesterday about Sony being done with porting their single player games to PC, I I think that in terms of PC is our competition, therefore that's why we should stop putting our games on there. I think that was lower on the totem pole as a reason why. Like there clearly were people who thought that. That's why in Jason Schreier's report he said there are people inside of PlayStation that believe this is doing damage, to the brand. So there are clearly people who believe that, but when I look at it, I'm like, well, the fact of the matter is, for the time that Sony was releasing their games on PC, not going day and date, of course, but backporting them, their console sales were still doing well. It didn't like tank PlayStation sales. So I think it's less about competition per se and just more about creating a differentiation more clearly where if Sony goes into the PlayStation 6 being like, okay, it's the PS6, all the games we showed you are exclusive. They're not, we don't want PC on the brain, you know? We want PlayStation on the brain. And we just want you to understand that PlayStation is its own thing that, we want you to consider. And I don't think there's anything that PC can do per se or anything Sony can do to really shake that up, but it's just about making the line more clear and less blurred. I think that's really what it comes down to. And again, there is a lower level of competition, but I don't think it's severe where it's like Sony's worried. I don't think Sony's worried about the Steam machine. I don't think Sony's that worried about Project Helix. I think Sony's just like, again, why even bother? We don't want to deal. Like, why deal with the stress of the headlines of the next Xbox is going to play any PlayStation game Sony puts on Steam? I don't think they will delist games. I considered the idea of them doing that, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. That, in my opinion, that doesn't make any sense. As long as it starts to become clear that, like, hey, when's Ghost of Yotei coming? It's like, it's not. When's Wolverine coming? It's not. Intergalactic? Nope. Okay. I don't think that's, you leave God of War 2018 and Ragnarok on PC. Some people might still buy it here and there. Maybe even from that perspective, Sony could see it as they've they can give people a taste. So here's here's an example, right? We know that Horizon 3 is many years away, unfortunately. And we also know that Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West are available on PC. And there are people on PC who played both games. There will be people later on PC that will play these games. But think of this: when Project Helix comes out next year, there are going to be Xbox players who upgrade to it that never played Horizon. They will now be able to play Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, assuming they don't get delisted. Assuming, I mean, Sony could go crazy and scorched earth and remove it. But those Xbox players will be able to play those first two Horizon games. And then let's say it's the year 2028. Sony announces Horizon 3, PlayStation 6 only. It's coming out in like 2030 or something, but they're announcing it. That person who played Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West on the Xbox Helix might be more incentivized at that point. Be like, well, shit, maybe I should get a PS6 because I played the Horizon games and I really like them, and Horizon 3 is not coming to PC ever. Like it's just PS6. I I'm just saying it's a possibility. I don't know how likely that is, but PS on the brain, you're saying they already delisted them from over 130 countries. That is true. That's another thing, dude. Like Sony, it's stuff like that where I'm like, Sony, why are you even bothering? You know what I mean? Like if you're going to do stuff like that on PC, like why even bother? You're just hurting yourself at that point. Like just I don't know. I think Sony should stay in their lane, man. I do. I think they should stay in their lane. Sega delisted almost all of their old games last year. They don't care. Damn. Yeah, Starfield is apparently coming to PlayStation on April 7th. I'm not going to play it. I mean, it's cool that it's coming to PS5, but I'm not interested. Sony doesn't know how to publish on PC at all. Their games have no DRM and are pirated day and date. The only game that had a DRM was Stellar Blade, and it did much better in terms of sales. Dude, that's crazy. I didn't realize that. That's actually wild. That is wild. I had no idea. Really? Stellar Blade was the only one. That happened to be the only one that sold well. Jeez. You're gonna wait to play GTA 6 on PC? Well, let me go check. So I did ask my Twitter. I said the next gen consoles, which are expected to release holiday 2027. There's been many reports of delays, but no confirmation of delays. Many reports, no confirmation. PlayStation 6 coming from Sony, but Project Helix coming from Microsoft. I asked, which one are you getting? Obviously, I have a lot of PlayStation-oriented people following me. They're going to say PS6, but so a couple people saying both of them. Both. That's interesting. I mean, that might be the way to go. See, I don't know that I could bring myself to buy Project Helix, though, if I had any interest in it at all. Only because that's the thing, man. Microsoft, as a PlayStation player, I feel like Microsoft has told me we're bringing every game. Like we don't need you to buy. I'm going to be honest, sometimes it feels like they're telling me we don't want you to buy our next device. Like at BG, we don't want you to buy it. And PS on the brain, you're saying not true. Sony DRM free games on GOG. Wait, so you're saying they have DRM on Steam, but not GOG? Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't know, bro. I don't know nothing about nothing. I'm stupid when it comes to PC, bro. Let me see. Somebody says I'm for sure buying a PlayStation 6. Oh wait, no. See, this is somebody says I'm for sure not buying a PlayStation 6. I'm going to get force-fed more remasters and remakes from 2028, 2029, 2030, and beyond. Project Helix it is. Bro, you know Microsoft's making a Halo remake, right? And they just released a Gears of War remaster, right? Okay. Okay, bro. You're not an Xbot. You know what though? We do have to think about that for a second though. He does bring up an interesting point. An interesting question. How crazy is Sony going to go with the remasters and the remakes with the PS6? Listen, I'm telling you guys right now. If I see The Last of Us 1 again, God, we are. Oh man, why is this? See, why? This is why I can't. I shouldn't go into Twitter comments because it throws me into depression because I'm like preemptively because what? Come on, it's like yeah, a Last of Us collection. All right, look. The only way word is circulating that Asha Sharma should bring Blue Point on board Team Green. What do you think about that? I say they should. Yeah, do it. Please, I would, dude. That would be such a bitch slap to Sony, and you would, for the first time in a long time, you would see me. I mean, really, really cheering Xbox on. Where I'm like, good. Like, I hope Sony is punching air. I hope Sony is crying. I hope they're upset. I hope they're punching holes in the wall because it's like you deserve that. Blue Point deserves to live, and Sony deserves to feel like shit. So I don't think that's going to happen though. I'm guys. Do you remember what I told you? I told you the night before. I know it sounds insane, and I know I sound like a crazy person, but I'm not. I'm just telling you the truth. The night before the announcement that Blue Point was closed, I had a dream that they were sold to a studio, to another publisher studio, and it's very vague. You know how dreams are, but I feel like in the dream, it was Kojima Productions. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like Kojima Productions bought Blue Point and like added them to their, I don't know, repertoire or whatever. Like they're gonna help us with our games. Um, I have the gift, bro. But if Blue Point Games ends up actually being saved because they were sold, that's a legit premonition, and I'm gonna be freaked the hell out. Maybe I do have the gift. PS on the brain, you're saying call them Greenpoint. At this point, I want it to happen, and I want them to rename to Greenpoint. Dude, that would be so funny. And they're gonna remake. I don't know what's the closest thing. Does Microsoft have anything that's even remotely in the ballpark of something like a Bloodborne? Anything? Anything? Tom from Moore's Law is Dead said Nix's studio could pump out 4K 60 path traced remakes every 6 months or so if they wanted to. Let's hope that happens. I mean, path tracing is tantalizing, dude. The thing about path tracing versus ray tracing is path tracing seems way more transformative from the comparisons that I've seen. Not that I've seen that many, but from the ones I've seen, I'm like, okay, that, like when you see ray tracing, it's like, yeah, that's really cool. But it's like, I'm kind of, it's totally fine if it's not there. I feel like when you see path tracing, and that is like the advantage that really high end, well optimized PC games have right now, is some of them can be path traced, and it's like, okay, it really does transform the entire look of a game, in my opinion. And that's one of the things that Sony really could push aggressively with the PS6. I won't lie, getting remasters of certain games, if it's like an upgrade you have to pay for, if it's like $10 or something, sure, or whatever, however they want to do it. But as if it doesn't eat into Sony's resources, I don't mind the idea of that. It's not as bad as I'm making it sound, but like when we think about something like The Last of Us, all I can figure to myself is like when the PS6 comes out, Sony's going to want to resell The Last of Us 1 and 2. Please just do it. Do it in the most non egregious way as possible, where it's like make a combo package and make it cheap and offer upgrade paths to, the people who, I don't know, to the people who already bought these games. I'm just trying to be reasonable here because it's like, of course, Sony's going to try to resell The Last of Us. You know what they could do? They could remake The Last of Us Part 2, but we're adding multiplayer this time. Oh, I'd pay $70 for that. Be like, here you go. You got me. PS on the brain, you're saying ray tracing in 2026 is disgusting. So old tech. It does kind of, yeah, I feel like ray tracing was more of like a stepping stone. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, it still kind of looks cool. Like I'm seeing the ray tracing on the PS5 Pro version of Resident Evil 9, and it looks good. I'm like, yeah, that does look good. I don't have a, but that's the thing is like it's when it's not there and when it's turned off, it's like okay, that's fine. Like I don't know, it's not that. It's not like game changing. It's just very nice. The comparisons I've seen with path tracing, like I said, is like okay, that like path tracing on versus off is like that's kind of nuts. But yeah, path tracing is extremely expensive, very demanding, and I mean, my assumption is the PS6 will be capable of path tracing, but I don't know. God of War trilogy remake with path tracing. Path tracing is just ray tracing used for most of the lighting. The standard ray tracing is just a little ray tracing. Yeah, I mean, I was seeing like some of the path tracing in Resident Evil 9, and I'm like, that's pretty sick. Like I can't deny like that. I can see that. That like I can really see that. That's really good. Shiny. I mean, lighting is so important in games, man. Like it can be one of the most transformative things for sure. MBG, a PS6 remake version of The Last of Us Part 1 and 2 as one long game that you don't have to put in another disc with multiplayer. With multiplayer. The number of bounces is key. That's true. Do you think that's what Mark Cerny is going to talk about when he talks about the PlayStation 6? He's going to let us know how many bounces. Let me see what else people are saying here. PlayStation 6 in 2027 ... and your source is when I purposely spread misinformation on the internet. Are we serious right now? Whoa, 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 hold on. I'm being clowned on because I'm saying the PS6 is coming in 2027? Oh no, dude, these delay rumors have rotted people's brains, bro. That's interesting. Well, okay. I mean, look, I think the PlayStation 6 could be delayed. Here's the real question: 2027. What are your sources? Last time they said they were pushing them to 20. Okay. Oh, I gotta get off Twitter. Oh my god, dude, it's so bad over there. It's so bad over there, dude. Like people are so misinformed. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. Like people are talking like Sony literally came out and told them they delayed the PS6 to 2029. Now, I get it, man. It's hard if you're not really paying super close attention, it can be hard to keep up with the stuff, but why do you keep thinking next year though? Well, like I'm basing my thoughts, my expectations, I should say, off of Moore's Law is dead. And the reason why I'm putting so much stock into Moore's Law is dead is because he is literally like the only person, as far as I'm aware, that I think one day he's going to get in trouble personally. Well, actually, Sony already did try to sue him. That so it's pretty serious. He has sources that are like literally working at AMD with Sony, and he gets like literal documentation. And what he Kepler L2 is really good too, but Moore's Law is dead. I mean, he flat out like I don't know, he gets kind of crazy with the stuff he's leaking. Where I like sometimes I'm wondering, I'm like, dude, Sony cannot be happy with this. But it's really valuable for people like us who, want to know this type of stuff and pay attention. And the reason why I'm putting so much stock into his leaks is because he's saying that as of right now, like Sony has not made the decision to delay anything. Everything that's on the documents still say 2027. The delays are assumed. They're assumed because, well, the idea is Sony will have no choice. The choice is drop an $800 console or delay it by a year or two and see if things get better. But we already kind of established, yeah, the delays are theoretical, but if a delay for PlayStation 6 does happen, it'll happen probably much closer to like, early mid 2027. Like they will delay it that year. They're going to try to push it back as far as they can. If anything, I think we will get a Sony ASMR when the new PlayStation tech is ready to be revealed. Oh, I think so too. Yeah. I think we might be getting something from Sony next or this month actually. They got PSSR 2. They said they're going to have more to talk about. So um but when it comes here's the question I have. If the PlayStation if Project Helix comes out 2027, November 2027, does Sony feel pressured that they also have to release? Or does Sony say, "No, we were planning on delaying it. We're going to stick with delaying it. We're not going to just rush it out." What are we thinking? I mean, I know that we all completely underestimate, understandably so. We just talked extensively about why we underestimate it. We all underestimate Project Helix, but we also have no idea what Microsoft's marketing cycle is going to look like. Neo, a member for 22 months. Thank you, man. He says, if they don't delay, that means Naughty Dog would have actually skipped a whole generation, considering that the Faye game is launching the first half of 2027. Well, if the Faye game comes out in like May or April, Naughty Dog could still come out in June or July or September. So, but no, I get, yeah, for all intents and purposes, if the PS set, I almost said the PS7, if the PS6 comes out holiday 2027 and Naughty Dog's game ships in the second half of 2027, it's like, yeah, they went a whole gen without making a new game. Or like, we had to wait till the literal last couple of months of the gen. You hope when PlayStation rolls out the AI podcast, we get a version of Mark Cerny. Yo, I like the way you're thinking. Xbox is dead. Long live Sony. My God. Sony will want a parody version of Call of Duty, so they have to come out with Helios. PS on the brain, you're saying it's a PC. Do Sony care about other PC hardware? No. That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, I do think if Sony is in a bit of a pinch, listen, if you want to know how I feel, not that you don't already know, but if you want me to reiterate or maybe make it more clear, I think Sony should launch the PlayStation 6 whenever they want. And listen, if everything is planned for a holiday 2027, I'm okay with that. Like if the easiest thing for Sony to do is like we planned everything around this, our games, because that's another thing is we have to consider that if there's going to be some kind of delay for the PlayStation 6, that messes up their whole launch window. And they might have to internally delay games, they might have to reposition them. So, it's probably a nightmare scenario for them, truthfully, if they have to delay it, because that's not the plan. The plan is not to delay. Just to be clear, like internally, that's not what they're planning for. They're preparing. Well, I guess there's not much of a difference, but that's not their initial plan. They are trying probably to prepare for it and have like a plan B, I suppose, which I guess would be them planning. But I think you understand what I'm saying. Their goal when they first started developing the PlayStation 6 and everything came together is this is when we want to launch it. This is what we're targeting. This is the target. So they don't want to push it if they don't have to. Excuse me. But it's one of these situations where I just want them to eat the cost. That's what I want. I don't know if they will, but it's like Sony, if like, could you imagine? I'm not. I don't know if this. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but hypothetically, could you imagine if Sony came out with a $500 PS6? Just think about that for a moment. Could you imagine if they did that? The way people would react. Now they're not. I don't think they're going to do that, but I think right now there's this idea that everybody wants them to delay the PS6 because they think the PS6 is not going to be exciting. They think it's not going to be exciting because there's not going to be exciting games and the price is going to be too high. If Sony can solve both of those problems, then I don't see a problem, right? If Sony can say it's not going to be too expensive, it's going to be $600, which considering how crazy prices have gotten, that would be really good. And here's a bunch of games that we planned for the launch lineup and the launch window of the PS6, and they're going to be exclusive. If they do that, then yeah, I'm on board with the PS6. But at the same time, if things change and they're like, well, listen, we're not doing the PlayStation 6 showcase until like June 2028, and it's not coming out till November 2028. And in other words, you're going to get a whole nother year with your PS5 Pro. I'd be okay with that too. I'm okay with that too because, well, frankly, I'm enjoying my PS5 Pro. But I can't sit here and deny that, like, one of the things I don't know, it's been a long time, man. Like, time flies. But yeah, I am kind of ready. I know that a lot of people don't agree with me, but I was thinking about this the other day and I'm not opposed, actually. Like, Sony, you want to ring the bell next June and be like Future of Gaming Part 2 or something, or like PS6 Showcase, we're going crazy. We're ready. Like, if you want to generate the hype, I'm not going to be opposed to that. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if Sony wants to come out and say we're ready to get you excited, let's go. I'm ready. I'm always ready, bro. You know that. That's why I find it. That's why I don't believe most people on the internet. I think people are lying to themselves. Well, I do think there is a material aspect, a real material aspect to this, where people, I think, are worried about the FOMO because they actually won't be able to afford it. But that's where I think Sony, don't let me down here, man. I hope they don't, because I want to see the PlayStation 6 succeed. Because I don't want to see Sony in the same position that Microsoft is in with the console. I don't want to see that. I want to see the console remain healthy as it can. That's the only reason I care about how well it sells. It's not for bragging or anything like that. Like, I'm not, again, so, those aren't my pockets that are being lined, right? I just know it happens, unfortunately, in the console space when it's like there needs to be momentum and growth to some extent. It would take a lot for PlayStation to be in the position that Xbox is in, but Sony's not immune. Look at what they did with the PS3. You ready for next gen because you want to see how it plays out? Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. For us here, I think all of us are ready any day because we like to talk about it. We like to cover it. We like to engage with it. So for us, there's more than just the actual experience of just buying a console and playing it and enjoying it. There's a whole nother aspect to it that certainly we enjoy. From Prime to Magnus to Helix to Dreamcast 9 million sales. PS on the brain, you're saying PS5 Pro handheld PS6 within 6 to 7 years is ridiculous. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that handheld, bro. You keep mentioning it handheld. I keep kind of forgetting about that. I don't know how I'm forgetting about it. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's when you lay it out like that. It's a lot of hardware. It's a lot of hardware, and you know what I would love to know more than anything. I would love to know what game Sony's planning for the PS6 launch. I would just, God, I would love to be a fly on the wall at like one of these meetings or something where Herman is like, I assume it's Herman's job, right? Like Herman has to, surely right now he's trying to talk to studios and figure out like which games are we going to have at the launch. Because I do think that, like I said, Sony might have one true ace card up their sleeve, no matter when the PS6 comes out. The Last of Us remastered. Yeah, there we go. But that's what Herman's going to play. And Horizon Zero Dawn remastered. Last If the Last of Us remake is a PS6 launch title, I'm going to have a meltdown. I am going to have a fucking meltdown, dude. The Last of Us 3, fine. That sounds awesome. Reveal The Last of Us 3, that'd be great. I'd be much more excited for that. It's like we're doing a remake of The Last of Us Part 2. We're gonna rewrite Joel in this game. I'll buy that for $70. Sony, I'm giving you these ideas for free. Could be the God of War remake. I think that's too far away. If you listen to the way that they talked about the remake at the announcement, they were basically like, now listen, you're not going to hear from us for a very long time, so leave us alone. Well, but when we come back, we're going to have a lot to say. And so that I took that as this thing's like minimum 4 or 5 years away. That's my guess. Love to be wrong about that, but the Venom game, so I think a Venom game, that'll be a big one. Keep in mind, yeah, there's a Venom. For those who don't know, there's a Venom game in development at Insomniac starring Eddie Brock. And that is 100%. I feel out of all the studios and all the games I know that are in development, that to me, I think that's a launch title. That's a great launch title for the PS6. I mean, dude, like if you're Sony, if you're Insomniac and you're Herman, Fizzant, I don't think is a launch title. Speaking of which, I was watching Mystic last week, and I don't know how I missed this, but he was covering in his news. If you don't know who Mystic is, I'm sure you guys do. He's a PlayStation YouTuber. He was covering. I totally missed this on Kojima's Twitter that Sony Interactive Entertainment went to visit Kojima Productions, and he posted that they came to visit, but he posted that they were doing a viewing of a trailer at his studio. And I'm like, that's Fizzant. Like, I think bro is about to, yeah, I don't know. I think he might be getting ready to drop a Fizzant trailer. Maybe this summer. So I can't imagine Fizzant will be ready at the launch. I mean, if Kojima's like working overtime, I mean, if he's like grinding, crunching, grinding, maybe this game could be ready by 2020, like maybe the launch window of the PS6 where it's like June 2028. That would technically be a launch window. Assuming the PS6 comes out in 2027. OD is still a thing apparently, but I think we're going to hear more about that at the Xbox showcase this year. That Venom game might be the Miles Morales launch type of game for the PS6. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. For PS5 or PS6. Fizzant, I'm fairly certain is just going to be well, you know what? I don't know. I'm not certain about that at all, come to think of it. I guess I had just assumed it was going to be a PS6 only game, but yeah, the cross gen, I don't know, man. Sony, look, I know people are going to fucking hate that I'm saying this, but if I'm Sony, no cross gen, dude, for anything. Sales be damned. I'm like, we need to move hardware. Like, we need to sell our new console. If I'm Sony, I'm going old school, bro. Maybe not the wisest decision. It's a risky because it's a risky one, but Venom PS6 only. Fizzant PS6 only. If there's a new Ratchet and Clank, although that's not, I don't think that's possible because, well, I don't know. Insomniac did it once. Maybe they could do it again. What other launch titles could there be? Um, I mean, Cory Barlog's game is, I think, going to be a PS5 game. Yo, oh my God, what if Cory Barlog's game is targeting the PS6 as a launch title? Well, no, they said first half of 2026, 2027. Almost got really excited for a second there. My bad. No, no, no. No, that would get like a director's cut or something. Yeah, the leak for the Faye game said first half of 2027. It could get delayed. X-Men's not till like 2030, 2031. Cross-gen's fine for the first couple years. I mean, I think it's, I don't know. That's the toughest thing right now, man. If you're Sony, I'm telling you, like, you might need aggressive exclusivity to move PS6 units. You might need that. The PS5 didn't need that. The PS5 was going to sell whether or not God of War Ragnarok was a true PS5 exclusive or not. Whether or not GT7 was a true PS5 exclusive. I don't know that will be the same. I think this time around with the PS6, it's like, holy shit, do you guys see that fucking Venom game? Yeah, bro, that shit looks nuts. Eddie Brock, this is going to be amazing. It's coming to PS5, right? No. Wait, oh, wait, what do you mean it's not coming to PS5? Yeah, it's PS6 only. Like, oh, well, I guess I'm buying a PS6. Like, dude, that's the difference, I think, this time for a lot of people, where it's like, if you recall, the data that we got back in 2020, 2021, and 2022 with cross-gen, the data that Sony put out, they said that people, even though these games were available on PS4, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, Miles Morales, people were still upgrading to PS5 and buying the PS5, versions. And so the data basically revealed, in the case of the PlayStation 4 to 5, the FOMO still existed. It still existed. Where, like, sure, this game's available on PS4. I don't care. I want the better version. I don't think that's going to exist this time. I really don't. I don't think that. I think if Venom is playable on your PS5 and PS5 Pro, then hardly anybody is going to upgrade to the PS6 for Venom. Some will, most won't. Versus if Venom is a PS6 only exclusive, you're going to hate that Sony's twisting your arm, but you're going to upgrade for that game if you really want that game. You're going to upgrade for, maybe an Astrobot game, or, Fizzant, or whatever, whatever's going to be there. You're probably going to upgrade to it. I mean, I hate to say it, man, but Sony's greatest asset, not asset, but I don't think asset's the right word to use, but Sony's greatest strategy most effective strategy for the PS6 might just simply be aggressive FOMO. And I'm not the biggest fan of that because it's like, for a lot of people, it just feels like unfair. But I don't know if it's like, we got to move the unit. We got to move the console, bro. They might have to force it, is what I'm saying. There's no way, especially if there's like a PS5 like handheld, I see cross gen for at least 2 years. How does no cross gen affect profitability for third party publishers with a small install base? Note that Sony makes a lot of revenue from that PlayStation tax. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different factors to consider here. What I'm saying might be preposterous, where it's like Sony's like, are you out of your goddamn mind? Yeah, I am. Yo, who didn't? You know what console didn't have cross gen? PS4, 3, and 2. Just saying. Just saying. It worked for 25 years, man. PS on the brain, you're saying choosing Venom over Spider-Man, it had to sell more. Well, I mean, Venom is a pretty popular character, but yeah, I mean, it's not like we're not talking like Spider-Man 3, Yo, Astro Kart plus Venom. We believe in generations. Smurf, you think I'm right? I mean, I I don't I don't know. I want to think I'm right, but I could be wrong only because one thing that seems clear to me is Sony has to take some chances here. I'm telling you. Like, if Sony does say we are doing cross gen, you're taking a big chance, Sony. You're taking a big chance where this cross gen uh, experience between the PS5 and 6 might be polar opposite what you saw between PS4 and PS5. X86 means cross gen forever. We need to get used to it. Well, to be clear, I do think cross gen is going to be crazy between the PS5 and 6 and this Xbox Helix, right? I think it's going to be crazy, but I'm just talking strictly Sony's games. And that's the thing, man. Like, I'm just imagining. Yeah, oh, fuck. I keep forgetting about this handheld, though, man. This handheld's fucking me all up. Like, yeah, what's up with this handheld? That really messes me up because that's like, well, how much does that alter the idea of cross gen? Like, here's a question: is the PlayStation handheld, is that going to be a PlayStation 6 device? Or is Sony going to treat it as like, no, this is like just separate? That would be kind of confusing because it's like, okay, so you have the PlayStation 5, the Portal, the PlayStation 5 Pro, and then you have the PlayStation 6, but then you just have the PlayStation handheld, which is like in between these two things. I guess in my mind, the PlayStation handheld is a PlayStation 6 device. It's part of the PlayStation 6 family. That's how I visualize it. So I guess what I'm saying could still be applicable. Where, yeah, I don't believe that at all. You're saying there's rumors of PS6 getting Steam. Like, in what world does Sony do that? The handheld will be a PS6 Lite model. Yeah, pretty much. That's how I'm starting to visualize it. There's no way PS6 gets Steam. No, 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 no. I don't think. No. Like, dude, come on. If Sony's announced, like, well, they're not announcing, but all the reports are saying that Sony's done putting their games on PC. Why the fuck would they bring Steam on? How funny would that be? Um, could there have been considerations? Sure. I think so. I mean, once Sony maybe heard that Microsoft is, Sony may have thought, what would happen if we did? Could that work for us? And then they probably realized very quickly, like, no, that's very stupid. That would kill. So that would kill PlayStation. Like, Just to be clear, that would I wouldn't like kill them, but that would be the end for PlayStation, where it's like no, now you're never gonna have any more growth. So in that sense, Steam is enough of a competitor that you don't want to bring their storefront onto yours. You know, why would you want the only question you have to ask yourself is this. Why would Sony want to funnel PlayStation players away from the PlayStation Store? Why would they want to do that? For Microsoft, they're doing that because, well, they don't care. They don't care if you want to leave the Xbox store. They don't care if you stay or go. Sony does care a lot. Yeah, exactly, Fred. I agree with you. Um, Perfect Image, you're saying MBG. I like the fact when I open my account, I can see all Sony first party titles and I can play them now. Same here. Well, like I'm just sitting here thinking like I'm trying to visualize the PlayStation 6. Here it is, the PlayStation 6. It's a black box. I assume it'll be that. Maybe it'll look kind of cool, but nothing over the top like the PS5 was. And here, watch out. And then they're gonna be like, here's the PlayStation 6 handheld, which can be docked. And I think these things will generate a lot of hype by themselves. But now I'm just trying to imagine, okay, here's the games that we're going to be launching. Some games at the launch of the PlayStation 6, some games coming within the first year. And just this idea of like, and you can only play them on these two devices. I just feel like at a time when everybody is saying, why would I buy a PlayStation 6? That might be it right there. Like, that's why you buy a PlayStation 6. Not just because of those one or two or three games at the launch or within the first year, but because Sony's letting you know every game this gen is going to be locked to these devices. Don't underestimate Hideaki Nishino here, guys. I'm not saying I'm not saying he'll do it, but I'm just saying you're talking about a guy who, you know, he is a Japanese executive. He's more traditional. He has been there since the PlayStation 2 days, since 2002, pretty much since the, you know, around the time the PS2 launched. He knows. He knows. He knows the importance of exclusives, seemingly. So, you know, we can't say for sure, but you do have to ask the question, could this be why Sony, one of the reasons why Sony is like, we're not putting our games on PC anymore, is because, yes, when we have two or three single player AAA games we're announcing for the launch of the PS6, we want to make it clear like they're just gonna be on PS6. We'll see. Dude, we have some really interesting times coming up. Things are already beginning to get very interesting. PlayStation 10 Neuralink, yeah. Key point, path traced older games like PS1 through 3. Oh my god. Could you imagine? Well, I want to put out a poll and I'm curious. I want to ask you guys. Would you still How do I word this? Would you still buy a PS6 if Sony's exclusives were cross gen with PS5? All right. Yeah, so I'm actually really curious to see, even just with my own audience, what the results are for this poll. I'm asking you guys, would you still buy a PS6 if Sony's exclusives were cross gen with PS5? I put three options: yes, no, or yes, but years later. Because I feel like, I mean, I don't know what the ultimate results of this poll will be. I feel like I feel like it's split. I feel like it's going to ultimately be like a 50-50 split where 50% of you will still buy a PS6 even if cross-gen exists. The other 50% might not. But I do feel like if I were to do a reverse poll, it's like, would you not buy the PS6 if all of Sony's games were exclusive, or it had true exclusives that were not on PS5? I feel like everybody would say, yeah, I'm buying it. You get what I'm saying? Interesting. I'm kind of surprised at the amount of people that are voting for yes, but years later. I thought that would be much lower. That's fascinating. Sony could play the long game with the PS6. I love how this. We're supposed to be talking more about Xbox here, but I don't know. I guess just hearing Microsoft announce their next gen device, it starts to make the PS6 feel more real too. You know, it's coming. The people who voted years later are lying to themselves. They know it. It's time for PlayStation All Stars 2. I mean, yeah, I don't know if Sony would ever return to that. The PlayStation 6 will fully saturate 4K 120 TVs. That's a crazy sentence. It'll fully saturate them. You went from PS4 to PS5 Pro, Daniel. Interesting. If you can play PS1 through 3 games natively, yes. If not, no. MBG, the cost of development today means risks are higher for break even compared to the days of the PS3. It would be bold today to eliminate cross gen. Yeah, I mean, Sony, here's something that's worth thinking about, right? I just mentioned, let me see if I can bring it up. Hold on. What are the sales splits for cross gen PlayStation exclusives on PS5 and PS4? I don't know if this is going to register the question correctly. Let's see. Okay, so it says this is the AI overview, but it says for major cross generation PS5 and PS4 exclusive titles, the sales splits heavily favored the new PS5 console for initial high profile releases, despite the much larger install base of the PS4 at the time of release. Data from early high profile releases like God of War Ragnarok and Spider Man Miles Morales indicates that PS5 owners were more likely to buy new top tier titles immediately. The key cross gen sales split between PS5 and PS4: God of War Ragnarok, launch week, UK physical, 82% on PS5, only 18% on PS4. Spider Man Miles Morales, launch window, 88% on PS5, only 12% on PS4. Initial adoption rates. While the PS4 had a much larger user base, early adopters with the PS5 were far more likely to purchase new flagship first party titles, resulting in a disproportionately higher share of sales on the newer platform. The fastest selling God of War Ragnarok cross gen sold 5.1 million copies in its first week, becoming the fastest selling first party launch in PlayStation history at the time. What's interesting about that though is, so okay, if God of War Ragnarok sold 5.1 million units in its first week, how many of those were on PS4? I bet you less than 300,000, maybe 400,000. But then it says digital physical mix. For some titles during this period, digital sales significantly outweighed physical. Okay, so they're talking about that. Long term strategy: Sony continued to release cross gen titles to leverage the massive PS4 install base, which still accounted for roughly half of the monthly active users. So, the reason why I'm going over this data with you guys is because I think that there might be something really important to be extracted here, where the assumption the assumption is that, okay, well, if Sony did cross-gen games with God of War and Horizon and Gran Turismo, and most people bought the PS5 versions anyway, then what's the harm there? What does that sound like to you? What does that sound like to you? That sounds to me a lot like Sony with PC, where, okay, if Sony releases their games on PC or backports their games to PC and, it's not affecting PS5 sales, then what's the problem? The problem is nobody's really buying them. Like, the problem is most of their sales, the overwhelming majority of their sales are happening on the new console. So I guess what I'm saying is the same logic that we're applying to the reason why Sony decided to stop backporting their single player games to PC might also apply to the PS5 by the time the PlayStation 6 comes out. Do you get what I'm saying? PS on the brain, you're saying back when people had COVID money. That's true too. That's true too. You're right. That's the risk that Sony's taking, where the money was kind of flowing at that time, and I'm sure that helped them. But this time around, you're saying this makes no sense. They're going to lose billions again, and PlayStation will get their exclusives day one. That's literally what Tom from Moore's Law is Dead has said repeatedly, MBG, that the PS6 will fully saturate 4K 120 TVs. PS5 Pro already does 4K 80 or 90. Oh, no, you're right. Oh, just no, you're right. And he's right too. Yeah, that it will do that. Sony had a chip shortage as well. That's true. Well, yeah, that's another thing. We don't know how much that chip shortage scared the shit out of Sony into doing cross-gen. Keep in mind, don't forget, this might be the most revealing thing of all. GT7 was not supposed to be on PS4, and at the last moment they made the decision to release it on PS4. When GT7 was first revealed, it was very much, guys, it almost seemed like Sony was like waiting basically to see. And we have red super chat from Mateto. That's what is that? What is that currency? Hold on, I don't know. This is Argentine peso. Okay, I was unfamiliar with this. Thank you for that, man. You're saying, hey, BG, how do you think piracy will affect the next Xbox Helix? I mean, if it's going to run on Windows, what would stop any consumer from downloading the games illegally? Well, that's a great question and not one that I really thought about, but I guess nothing. I guess nothing's stopping them, man. When you consider the fact that, so again, my assumption with this Project Helix is you buy it, you boot it up, it's going to emulate a traditional Xbox experience, but there will be the option you can boot Windows 11, like full Windows 11. And if you do that, yeah, there would be nothing stopping you from pirating games, I suppose. And that's, you know, that's just something that I guess anybody who is considering buying, I mean, I don't think Xbox console players are going to be doing that though, you know? I think anybody who's interested in pirating games, they're not on console unless it's to try to like jailbreak it or something, you know? But yeah, that is a good question. That's not something I really thought of. I mean, I don't know if maybe Xbox would have to. I mean, what could they do? I don't think they could put anything in there to stop it. The only thing they could do is make it so you can't boot up Windows 11, but they're not going to do that. That's a great question, man. We'll see. We'll see. But Mateto, thank you so much for the again. I know how much that is for you with your currency, man. I really appreciate that, bro. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you. Let me see. The hacked PS3 and Switch are great. Oh, hold on, I have to check something here. Okay, hold on. Sorry, we're good. They'll brick the console like Nintendo bricks consoles. I mean, I guess they could do that. When do I think the PlayStation 6 will launch? What do you think the price will be at launch? I mean, dude, I don't. I have no idea. Well, when it comes to when it's going to launch, I'm totally up in the air with that. I think it's a coin flip. Um, I will tell you. I will tell you. I think that the price is going to be 600. I've already talked about it. You know, I sound like a broken record, but if they go above 600, it's like nobody's going to buy it. I mean, like, I don't know. They could do a digital and disc model. If they do a digital model, that could be the $600 model. And then the disc model could be the more expensive $700 version. An $800 disc model version. That'd be so funny. $600. They could do something like that where it's like somehow $200 less for the digital, but it seems a bit disproportionate, you know? MBG, it doesn't matter what Helix or Steam Machine do. PlayStation games are exclusive now, and Xbox players still won't buy games. That's a big problem. Well, it's only a big problem for Microsoft if they're not multi platform. Microsoft is multi platform, and they're going to get PS5 sales, they're going to get Steam sales, and that's where their high profit margins are going to come from. If the next Xbox launches in 2027, I don't think Sony will wait around again like they did with the PS3. Well, yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I do think they would wait, though. I do think they would only because it would be necessary. You know, if Sony does delay the PS6, it's because they've deemed it we have to. Like, it's just not feasible. But I mean, here's what I think. If Sony, let me walk this back for a second. If Sony delays the PS6, I think it will be because they don't want to eat any money. Like, they don't want to eat the cost in any capacity, and they will be hoping that if we delay it by 6 months or 12 months, that the market conditions will change to where we'll be able to launch it at a break even or very close to break even. We won't have to eat anything. Um that's I think that's what would, but they just might have to bite the bullet, man. It's like, "Nah, dude, Sony, like this shit's not changing anytime soon." But and you just you gotta go for it, you know? You gotta treat it like the old days. If they still consider Xbox competition, no delay. Well, yeah, I if the PS6 does launch holiday 2027, I don't think that will be. I mean, I hold on, hold on. MBG, do you think the PlayStation exclusives will be cross-gen PS5, PS6? Well, this is just stuff we were talking about, man. I don't want to repeat everything, but that was one of the last points I was trying to make. You know, I was pulling all this data because I'm like, dude, Sony might look at the fact that, bro, we launched Miles Morales and Ragnarok and Forbidden West all cross gen and barely anybody bought it on PS4. And the few people that did buy it on PS4, that's probably why they didn't move over. You know how Sony is like putting messages up telling PS4 players like it's time to buy a PS5. Sony's having a hard time prying these last remaining PS4 players. I'm sure them doing cross gen didn't do themselves any favors, you know? Again, that's my assumption. But dude, it's so crazy seeing these like red super chats pop up out of it's crazy because YouTube with their color schemes, bro. Yeah, again, bro, I know how much that's costing you. I really, really appreciate that, Mateto. I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly, but I'm saying like Mateto, almost like potato. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Um, I don't know. I'm trying my best here. I'm very stupid. You're saying, but isn't it kind of a suicidal move to put Steam, a platform that takes 30% of sales, on the same platform where Xbox runs? I mean, why would you buy games on the Xbox store when you could buy them on Steam and access those games from any PC or device that runs Steam? Or is this the prelude to Microsoft buying Steam? I don't think Microsoft's going to buy Steam. We have had discussions about this before. I think that first off, Gabe Newell will have to pass away, and then I could see Microsoft trying to make some kind of move. But I don't think Microsoft gets Steam. If Microsoft gets Steam, it is over. And I think everybody knows that. It's over for Steam. Uh, I don't think it's a prelude to that. I think it's a prelude. So I think it's more obvious than that. You're asking a question that I do think is one that anybody who pays any attention to this stuff is asking, where it's like, why would you do this? But there you go. Carlos kind of answers it. He says Windows already works that way. It's nothing new. He says 95% of PC players are using Windows and buying games on Steam, and Microsoft is not struggling or anything. Well, this is the thing. This is where you can see it's not so much suicidal as much as it's just Microsoft is waving the white flag here, where they're like, listen, man, we are okay. Like the big takeaway here is Microsoft is signaling we are okay if you don't want to buy Xbox games on the Xbox storefront or buy Xbox hardware. We are totally okay with that. I feel like the biggest signal for this, even before this conversation with Project Helix and Steam being available on it, the biggest signal was when Microsoft raised the price of their consoles not once but twice, to a point where the question needs to be asked, why would anybody buy an Xbox right now? Literally, why would anybody who's choosing to buy a console choose an Xbox Series X or S over a digital PS5? And I'm saying digital because that's the cheaper version. Nobody would. Literally, nobody would. And to add insult to injury, Microsoft said, well, hey, the only reasons that you may have even considered buying an overpriced Xbox, such as, well, they have Forza, they have Halo, they have Gears, not anymore. We're putting them on PlayStation now. Look, let me go. Hold on. I want to check something real quick. See if I can. Let's see if I can make an even better point here. Oh, okay. All right, it's gone. It's gone now. I was going to show you something with the Xbox CEO, where the Xbox CEO, Asha Sharma, there was like this thing that was made. I don't know if you guys saw this. It was like a mural or some shit where it said like Xbox or something. It was all green, but it was like had the like signatures and logos. I think it was like the logos of all these different Xbox content creators, you know? And it was the new Xbox CEO put it as her banner. It's not her banner anymore. She changed that shit real fast to Project Helix, which I guess makes more sense. I think it was her banner for, I don't know, was it her banner on Twitter? I'm pretty sure it was for a little bit. And I'm pointing this out because it's like, listen, listen. Well, before you listen, let me read Raven's super chat here. Raven says, and Potato, when it comes to your super chat, the next thing I'm going to say still pertains to it. Raven says it'll be cool. It'll be a cool throwback if Sony went with the PS2 design with a future look to it. Since it's going to be more compact, I do wonder. But PS5 Pro is beast. Hell yeah, dude. If Sony went with a more PS2 looking design for the PS6, that would be fucking amazing. I'd be all over that, bro. I hope they do. But yeah, it's going to be something much simpler than the PS5, apparently. It's going to be more minimalist. Maybe it could be more similar to something like the PS4. And PS on the brain, you're saying, why are they of relevance to even talk about then? Because I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why PS on the brain. All right. So Xbox. Oh wait, hold on. We got another red super chat. God damn, bro. God damn, Potato with another one. And again, I'm so sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Like I feel like I'm saying it wrong, and it sounds like I'm practically calling you Potato. And I really apologize, bro. He says, so what we're assuming is that the Windows division, Microsoft's main product, will eventually, sooner rather than later, absorb Xbox, and therefore Xbox will cease to exist. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that that is literally going to happen. No, when it comes to the actual name. The name is the brand. So the brand itself will, it's kind of like bands, you know? Like it's like think of a band, I can't think of one off the top of my head. I'm sure there isn't like Journey one of those bands. I don't know. They're like these bands that have been around for so long, but there's like no original members somehow, but they still use the name. And it's like no matter what you say or think, like that's not the band. You know what I mean? Like it is it's like it's almost like a professional, I don't know, like a pro cover band at that point. Yeah, well that's what's throwing me off, Michael, is it looks nuts on the YouTube on the chat box. But yeah. Michael's like, "Wait a second. MBG doesn't seem excited enough." No, but you're absolutely right though, Potato. Like, dude, and that leads into the conversation. I was going to answer what I'm going to answer what PS on the brain was saying. Like, if it's why talk about it if it's not relevant? Because that's the thing about Microsoft. It is relevant because they're going to make it relevant. Do you get what I'm saying? Where it's like, how is it, dude? I have like, come on, Microsoft has successfully gaslit me to the next dimension, man. Where I just accept it. I do. I just accept. It's like, guys, like it's been over for you for a long time. Like it's over. But the thing is, like, they won't give up on the fans, bro, because the fans won't give up. And it's literally one of these things where it's like the reactions you're seeing to Project Helix right now. The only people that are acting that not acting but are genuinely excited for this are the real fans, as well as the online personalities and influencers and content creators that are aligned with the Xbox side of things. And they're not giving up on it. Even though there's like it's literally like, so you're telling me you could buy a PlayStation and get all PlayStation and Xbox games, right? And GTA 6. But you'd still rather stick with Xbox and not get PlayStation games, get Xbox games knowing they're still going to PlayStation. And I guess you still, I don't know why did I say GTA 6? You're still getting GTA 6. I guess I mentioned that cuz like you can't really take the PC angle there. I don't know. There's something there has been something happening for a long time with Xbox. And it's not a Sega thing. It's different than Sega with the Dreamcast. It's similar in some instances, but it's different from a bigger picture perspective. It's similar in that the Xbox console is dead. Like, I don't say that as a fanboy. I don't say that as an LOL, good riddance. I don't know. I'm saying, like, as a viable product in the market, it is dead. And Microsoft killed it. Sony critically injured it, maybe like mortally wounded it, and then Microsoft put it out of its misery. That's the reality. That's been the reality for years now. But especially the last 2 years, that's when Microsoft finally made the decision. We're going to just put it out of its misery with the price increases. Like, Microsoft literally signaled, we don't want you to buy this. Please don't buy this because we don't want to manufacture them anymore because this shit just ain't worth it. That's why what Mateto is saying here is true, where it's like, well, then what gives for Project Helix? Why are they doing it again? I don't get it. If it's dead, why are they doing it again? And it's because this is their way to take the last remaining Xbox fans that will not give up. They're not giving up. Okay? They will literally go down, all the way down with the ship. Okay? And then, like, haunt that shit in the afterlife. They're not giving up, and Microsoft understands this. They still have... It's impossible to gauge the number. It's impossible to gauge the number. I don't know. Oh, hold on. Perfect image. What? These damn cats, bro. Perfect image. Where did you need me to check? Gaming chat? Oh, thank you. There you go. Thank you, perfect image. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Look. I'm gonna see if I can bring it up. I'm gonna... These freaking cats, bro. This was the picture of the banner. Why is that? It's way too large. But yeah, this was the banner where it's like this mural of like Xbox fans and stuff on like Twitter and accounts. Oh, hold on. We got a direct donation here. I got a significant direct donation here. I will play in just a second. But before I get rid of this image, I'm just saying, like, this right here is it. This right here is it, where it's like, we're not giving up on you guys. Like, we're not done. We're doing... It's like, guys, they're fucking going to give you a Windows 11 device. They're converting you guys to PC players. And they're not hiding it. But they know you're going to let that happen. Like, they know you will be okay with that. And I'm not saying you have to not be okay with that. I'm just saying, like, it's clear that Xbox, whatever the reason was, that original Xbox players, whether you bought the original Xbox, the Xbox 360, or the Xbox One, or even the Series, but mainly those three, whatever reason it is you bought those consoles, those reasons don't exist anymore. That's the point. Not only do they not exist anymore, but they've been replaced with, well, actually, we're just going to move you on over here to Windows and to PC. So, it's just Microsoft doing what they originally wanted to do, which was, we want to make a Windows device and put that shit in the living room. All right, we have a, let's see. I'm going to play this. We have a direct donation from Authentically Rich Rod.
May the reign of Xbox fade into the annals of history, yielding the stage to worthier contenders.
And that was a $50 direct donation. I'm pretty certain that isn't the real Rich Rod, although Rich Rod he has told me many times that he wants me to stream in the evening and later. So that might actually be Rich Rod. I'm not sure. Apparently it is. But whoever it is, Rich Rod or an imposter perhaps, thank you so much for dropping a $50 direct donation. I really do appreciate that. And let me see where I got a couple. I got Tin Blood here. A member for 32 months. He says, MBG, I shit you not. Hassan Karaman is playing Abandon. Gospels of Blood right now. Come on, bro. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. Abandoned Gospels, like that's the title, Gospels of Blood. Hey. Made me get out of my chair. Okay. I'm just gonna move on from that. P.S. on the brain says, funny how much this woman has been triggering people. Well, to be honest, yeah, there's definitely been people getting triggered. I mean, I don't know. Do I seem triggered? I'm not trying to come off as triggered. It's just that I feel like there are certain points that need to be reinforced. And I get it. Like, I understand. It's like, this is the meme of, there's a couple people in a circle. They're enjoying their thing, playing their game. And there's like that person being like, hey, stop having fun. You're not allowed to have fun. And they're like, yeah, whatever, man. Or like, no, the meme is, hey, you can't enjoy that. That's a Windows device. That's actually a PC. And they're like, yeah, cool, man. We don't care. It's like, stop having fun. And I get it. It comes off that way. And I'm not trying to lean too far in that direction. I know I'm coming off that way. But it's just about, I guess I don't know. I guess really if we really like look at it from a more deeper psychological level, it's because it's weird. It's weird to encounter people. What I encounter, right? The reason why I come off this way is because I encounter it quite a bit. Is I encounter people that still talk. Like, yeah, bro, I don't know why. Again, I don't know why they sound like that. That's probably not how they sound, but it's like, I'm gonna fucking wipe the floor with you with my fucking Xbox Magnus. And I just come across these people where they like, it's like, what are you talking about? Like you're going there is no bragging point anymore. That's all it is. Like there's nothing to stand on. And that's fine. But there's nothing to stand on and shout something, and the boasting is what gets me. Where it's like, this is fucking insane. Like these people looked at you dead in the face and said, hey, we're giving them Halo. We're optimizing Halo for a more powerful console than what we can offer you. And these guys, I'm telling you, man, it's just like they still are like, we're in this. We're fucking in this. It's like you're not in anything. And that's okay. You don't need to be in anything. What you need to do is accept that you're going to buy a $1,200 PC with a console emulation wrap around it to convince yourself it's still an Xbox and that this is still going. And that's why I get weird with the marketing from the way Asha Sharma is like, she's taking over Phil's position and like still going with that. It's like, bro, you are the new CEO. You can nix this shit. Like you can do it better and different. And you're just literally parroting what the previous leadership did before you, which is what has conditioned this weird parasocial type behavior between certain people in the fan base and the entire executive branch of this brand. And it's like it would be different if if the results were different, right? If the results were holy shit, they are making the comeback. Holy shit, they are bringing back a traditional console and they're going to take it right to Sony and Nintendo. Holy shit, they are going crazy with the exclusives. They're doing this and they're not doing any of that. They're not doing any of that. They're it's very strange. It's a very strange approach, and I'm assuming the reason why they're continuing to take this approach is because, well, what's the alternative? The alternative is just be cold and you know, um, frank about it. Where it's like dude, she's sitting here responding to somebody be like, "Bring back only on Xbox." Hear you. Meanwhile, in the next interview she gives, she says, "We're still going to be putting games everywhere." Meanwhile, all the reports are saying Sony's going back to only on PlayStation. And I'm like, I'm going to be honest, it almost seems like Sony is baiting Microsoft. It almost seems like Sony is trying to like tempt this new CEO like do it. Like do it. Do it. Do it. Like come on, we're going back. We're doing it. Come on. I'm just kidding. I don't think that's really what they're doing, but I just think it's strange, man. I think it's strange where it's like there's nothing wrong with anybody being excited about this upcoming project Helix. I just don't understand what is exciting about it. I mean that. Like that's the thing that I cannot wrap my head around where it's like what is exciting about this device? Genuinely. Not something not I'm not talking like just like sure, maybe from a power perspective, but it's like what this exists right now. Literally, what this thing is and will be pretty much exists right now. I don't know. Maybe I come off too bitchy when I talk like that, but I am genuinely confused by it. And I'm not saying people shouldn't be excited. It's like if you're I don't want to ruin your excitement. I'm just trying to understand it. That's all I'm trying to figure out is like what is the excitement factor here? I did miss Potato. He has another super chat here. He says, "Now my question is, after buying Activision Blizzard and Bethesda Studios and now moving to absorb the PC space with Project Helix, why are people saying that Sony is being anti-consumer for returning to the exclusive strategy? From my point of view, it's exactly the opposite." Well, because honestly, I mean, when you talk about people calling Sony anti-consumer for doing exclusives, there's been this crusade. And I was thinking about this too. I'm like, when did that start? When did the crusade against exclusives begin? Truly, because it was not like that. I'll tell you, when I was covering the Xbox One, people people were advocating for exclusivity. I remember people were having meltdowns that Quantum Break was going to launch day 1 on PC in 2016. Xbox players were having mental breakdowns that Quantum Break was announced for PC because it's removing the true exclusives. And I'll tell you, man, throughout that entire generation, people did not have a problem. People did not have a problem with exclusivity. And they certainly didn't have a problem with it with PlayStation. They still don't have a problem with it with Nintendo. It wasn't until Microsoft basically came in and was like, exclusives are not good. And that was like the talking point. Like we're sending the signal exclusives are bad now. And I noticed ever since that happened, yeah, dude, people have had especially like it's almost like PC players were always against exclusives because the more exclusives that exist for console hardware, the less games PC players get. So when they saw that Xbox players were being told that, you know, you have to accept we're not doing exclusivity anymore, that's when you kind of saw PC players and Xbox players kind of unite a little bit and be like, yeah, exclusives are bad now. And like, so Sony is really the villain. But then, like, anytime you bring up Nintendo, Nintendo gets a pass because it's like, yeah, but they're Nintendo. So it was really, and it was about applying pressure to Sony. And that pressure clearly did something because Sony started to go in this direction where they're like, yeah, maybe we'll stop doing exclusives. Or maybe, if not stop doing exclusives, we'll start backporting games to PC. Maybe we'll do a little bit of experimentation here and there, throw a little Helldivers on Xbox. And, this was all at a time when there was this whole narrative of exclusives are bad. So naturally, it's like, okay, well, Sony must also maybe be in some kind of agreement. But now Sony is going back to what they've always done, seemingly. And, it's, to be honest, I'm not interested in the conversation of whether it's anti consumer or not. I'm not going to pretend to fucking care. And I don't mean that towards you, Mateto, because, like, not you. I just mean generally. Like, I feel like it's bait. I'm going to be honest. PS on the brain, you're saying, I don't know, it's just strange to care so much. Who cares? I mean, yeah, I don't. Who fucking care? I mean, I mostly agree. At the end of the day, bro, like, I don't fucking care. Like, buy 3 magnets or Project Helixes. I don't fucking care. Buy 3 Project Helixes and take a fucking hammer to your PlayStation, and you know, I don't fucking care. Like, do what you want. I guess it's just because it's the nature of what I subject myself to. I end up like, I read so much shit, man, and I see people's reactions, and I guess I just start to kind of, I don't want to, I don't, it seems like I fixate on it. I don't fixate on it. I just really start to I don't fixate on it. I hyper fixate on it. I just start to kind of zoom in a little bit more when I'm having these conversations on my streams where I'm like, okay, like I am like at that point where it's like if an Xbox person comes up to me and is like, "Yo, Project Helix is gonna dump all over PS6. That's gonna be the way to go. Sony don't got it. Sony got like 1 game a year, bro." And it's like, yeah, you're totally right. You're absolutely right. Sony is the worst. Xbox, Microsoft is the way to go, bro. And then I'm like, anyway, like that's the point that I'm getting at, where it's like, okay, you guys just watched. It's whatever, man. It's whatever. It's like if you really believe that things are going to turn around for Microsoft and you're happy with the direction they're going in, then that's fine. But all I can say to that is, hey, um, you know, I would love for there to be further competition between Sony and Microsoft. I don't think there's going to be. I'm still going to cover news like this. I'm going to have extensive conversations. There's a reason why, like, more than half the conversation I had tonight. Um, there's a reason why more than half the conversation was more about the PS6 and what Sony's going to do there, because it does it is really starting to feel like, I'm going to be honest, man, it's starting to feel like Xbox fans are on an island, you know? Like, and I'm not talking about people who engage with the Xbox brand. I'm not talking about that. I engage with the Xbox brand. I'm talking about, like, the fans. The fans. I feel like Microsoft literally put them on an island. And they're like, we got to take care of these guys. Like, they're a thorn in our side. They're not gonna go away. They're not gonna stop making noise. So we gotta just, like, take care of them. Okay. Like, Phil's been taking care of them for like 12 years. Asha, you're gonna have to take up the mantle now. Whoa, whoa. No, not that kind of island. Oh, whoa, whoa. You know what? Wrong. Yeah, wrong turn. A sector in a facility. Scratch that. Not no island. They're not on an island. They're quarantined. not quarantined, but they're being like wrangled up. They're being shepherded, or they're being wrangled up. They're being herded. It's like, we got to put you all here. This is where you're gonna stay. All right, we're gonna feed you good. All right. Oh, we have a Mateo with another one. Thank you, man. I appreciate the super chats. You're saying, but why are PC players so upset if Sony stops releasing its exclusives on Steam when they don't even buy Sony's games? For example, Spider-Man 2 took only 6 months to come out. I do think it was 12 months, I think. And only about 27,000 people bought it. It was more than 27,000 people because the number you're referencing is the peak concurrent, which the actual sales are higher than that. It's 15 months. All right, yeah, thank you, Mr. B. But no, the general picture that you're painting here, I don't. You're stating things that, yeah, I feel like PC. Listen, man, people are just mad to see that Sony's not following Microsoft. Like at the end of the day, if you zoom all the way out, like PS on the brain, you know how you're saying like I'm kind of weird. Sometimes I think I come off kind of weird because I just remember things like in specifically this space because I've been covering it so closely and I've been following every single beat. And I remember, bro. And it's the memory of just everything that has occurred and seeing the way things are now that does kind of frustrate me a little bit, because one of the things that I can tell you from a really zoomed out space where you could see the whole timeline, or a big chunk of it, is that Microsoft started changing their business model in 2016 and 2017. And ever since 2016 and 17, every single year, they've been making more and more and more changes to their business model to slowly mold and shape Xbox as we knew it into something else. And it really started to get aggressive. Like you started to really see that ramp up after the Bethesda acquisition going into the Activision Blizzard. And once the Activision Blizzard acquisition went through, that's when the whole thing flipped. And in that time, there has been. This is the second person. Oh my God. This is the second person coming in saying Hassan Karaman is playing Abandoned Gospels of Blood on PS5. Don't do that to me. No. No. Speaking of timelines, during this whole time, and this is the most important part, there has been pressure from all angles to try to get Sony to follow Microsoft. That's what this has been about this whole fucking time, dude. Truly. And that's why there's been this kind of butting of heads between two groups of people, mainly enthusiast PlayStation players and enthusiast Xbox players, and then you have enthusiast PC players in the middle of that. Faction A, B, and C. And they're all, faction B and C are teaming up, going up against faction A, and it's like that's where all this comes from, because think about it. Like, people were expecting Sony to follow Microsoft. You better, like, of course you need to put your games day one in the PlayStation Plus Extra. Are you kidding me? Microsoft tried to play 4D chess and they didn't. They thought they were, but they didn't. Or if they were at any point, Sony knew, they saw through it. And that's why I hold on to this, because I remember it clear as day. There was this whole idea that Microsoft's trying to turn the table on Sony, where it's like, Sony's the bad guy, guys. Like, we're doing the good thing. We're the good guy. We're here for you. Like, we're all about the best deal in gaming, the best value. Like, we're all for the fans. We're going to fly you out. We're going to have hangouts. It's going to be fucking great. Look at what Sony don't give a shit. So Sony, they want to keep doing exclusives. They don't want to put their games on PC. They don't want to play nice. They don't want to do crossplay. They don't want to do any of that shit. And it's just about slowly chipping away to get Sony to start. It's like, yeah, see, Sony, like Microsoft is leading. They're going in the right direction. Microsoft knows what they're doing. You are getting left behind. So you need to follow them. And that's been at odds with the whole bigger picture truth of like, dude, Sony kicked your fucking ass. And this is the last play you have in your playbook to try to turn it around, to basically gaslight everybody into thinking that they didn't just kick your ass and that you guys aren't the one on the back foot. And and you knew the moment they started buying Bethesda and Activision Blizzard that holy shit, you guys you just went scorched earth. And yes, it was a risky play where you go scorched fucking earth, and guess what? They flew too close to the sun, bro. Yeah, you can have Bethesda, and you can even have Activision Blizzard, and you can have Call of Duty, you can have it all. Doesn't mean it's going to save your fucking business model. If anything, it just means you've completed the transformation. And you know what hasn't changed in that time? PlayStation. PlayStation didn't change their business model. PlayStation, sure, they've dabbled in things here and there, but generally speaking, it's like they just did what they've been doing for, again, 30 years. And that's what frustrates me, is that there's so many people in this space that, and you know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. There's so many people in the space that come from that. They come from that aspect of what Xbox was that I was also a part of. And they sit here and they pretend like, nah, man, it's better the way it is now. And it's like, you're fucking lying to yourself. You know it because you know that if Asha Sharma came out tomorrow and said, we're going back to exclusives, they would fucking die of heart attacks, is what they would do. They would have strokes. They would be in such disbelief. That's how happy they would be. That's how excited they'd be. You know? And that's the truth here, man, where it's like, yes, PS on the brain, you're saying, to be fair, last year you said you were happy to see exclusives go away. Now Sony changed their mind. You're happy for them again. LOL, everyone's changing up. Listen, I said in my last two streams, I got to a point where I accepted it. But that's the thing, man. I also don't forget though. Don't forget, I always said with that, and you can fact check me on this. Somebody can if they want. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do. You could go back. But I've always said if Sony wants to go back to exclusivity, I will never be angry about that. I will never be upset about that. I've always said that. I've always said that that's what they did this whole time. That's what won me over. I was never against it. But if they're going to go away from it and say, we're doing this because this is just how things are now, and the only player out here is going to be Nintendo, which Nintendo will never win me with their exclusives, maybe except for the Duskbloods. But yeah, I got to a point where I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, Xbox guys, like, I guess this is what's happening. But then you're damn right. When Sony says, actually, bro, we are sticking with exclusives, I'm like that 50 Cent meme, you know? Where I'm laughing driving away. I'm like, never mind. Because you know what? That's the thing. Xbox players know for a fact. And PC players know it too. PC players, this is why PC players are so mad, because they're like, fuck. They're like, fuck, we were so close. We were so close. It was going to be Microsoft giving up exclusives and Sony giving up exclusives, and now Sony's backing out. And yeah, it's like, bro, listen, I'll even put this out here now. If Sony changes their mind next year and they're like, actually, we are going back to what we were doing, whatever, bro. It's like, whatever. You guys are out of your minds. You're flip-flopping. You don't even know what you want to do. I'll still, as long as they don't do something nuts where they're like, we're canceling single-player games now, I'll still support it because it's what I'm invested. And I understand to a degree that's why Xbox players are invested. But it's just a matter of like, I never was against admitting that I liked exclusives. That's why I feel frustrated. That's why I end up going on these rants because it's like, bro, listen, everybody has a change of heart. Everybody changes their minds on things. That's not abnormal. It's actually very normal. But there's also things that we just have to be like totally honest about with ourselves because it's just always been the truth, no matter what it might be. For me, one of those things is like, dude, I've never been against exclusives. I've never once bitched about any games that are only on PC, only being on PC and being like, how dare they? I've never once bitched about Nintendo games being exclusive. I never once bitched about, Xbox games being exclusive or Sony games being exclusive. That was the type of gaslighting that really started to piss me off. Where it's like there's a difference between accepting the changes that are occurring and what is because I can't do anything about it and trying to reframe that as, yeah, I hate exclusivity. Exclusives are bad. That's what I'm trying to highlight here. And that's what pissed me off because I saw so many people basically turning on it, like acting like, yeah, we hate exclusives. It's like, no, you fucking don't. You're the same people that were telling me you can't wait for Bethesda games to be exclusive. What you mean to say is, okay, we got to accept this. Okay, this is what Microsoft wants to do. And I guess there's some upside here. There's pros and there's cons. But what's wrong with admitting that, like, bro, you bought your box for the fucking games that you were going to get on that box? You know that's why you bought it. And you know that's why you jumped out of your damn seat when you saw Hellblade 2 announced with the Series X. Just like I did. I'm like, boom. I was all on the PS5 hype train, but when I saw the Series X and Hellblade, I'm like, boom. They're coming in fucking hot. I loved it. But that's why I just don't. That's what pisses me off about this parasocial relationship that these Xbox guys and these content creators or whoever the fuck they are, because there's like random Twitter accounts too that they have with the Xbox leadership where it's like now that there's a new CEO, you start to see it bleeding through where it's like, yes, there it is. There it is. What are they asking for? What are they asking for? They're asking for Xbox to go back to exclusives. And you better believe that the most die-hard Xbox players that have been sitting here saying, when we all play, we all win for the last 5 fucking years, you better believe inside they're like, please, God, please, please, Asha, come on, do it. You know you want to do it. And that's what I'm talking about. It's like, let's not pretend that inside we do want that shit. Because that's why we're here. That's why we're not on PC. That's why we bought PlayStations. That's why we bought Xboxes. That's why we bought Nintendos, bro. That's why. And I'm tired of people pretending that that's not why. And granted, maybe there are some people listening that are like, I don't know about you, man. I bought my PlayStation for Fortnite. All right, maybe you don't count in that. And if that's the case, I'm not talking to you. If you're playing on Xbox and you're playing Fortnite or GTA Online or something, I'm probably not talking about. You're not really the part of the group of people I'm talking about. And I just get passionate about it because, yeah, I don't know. This shit, do I take it too seriously? Absolutely. Am I a weirdo? Absolutely. Am I cringe? Sure. But you know what? That's the passion behind it, where it's like, I grew up with this shit. Like, this shit has played, no joke, like a major role in my life from early childhood till now. If anything, it plays an even larger role in my life now. So, yeah, I do care deeply about it, and it does matter. And I'm not, I get it. At the end of the day, it's like, dude, yeah, just play games and have a good time. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play more Resident Evil tonight, hopefully, if I have the time. That's what I'm going to do. But it's just, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't miss the days. I don't miss the days of like, we are the 15% on PlayStation. I am. I'm a proud 15%er, bro. Come on, man. PlayStation Nation, what are you doing to me out here? We need more Astrobot sales stat. Come on, what are we doing? Yeah, for real though, Astrobot deserves more sales. Anyway, there's my impassioned rant. I don't mean any ill will. Listen, I don't mean any ill will towards Xbox players or content creators or influencers. I'm just saying, come on. Come, don't lie. Like it's fine. You don't you don't have to admit it, but I know. I know. I know that you want nothing more than for Project Helix to ship with an exclusive lineup of Xbox titles that you can only get on that console. I know you want that. I want that too. I just want to gatekeep games. Yeah, no, dude, for real. What like because again, all people want to do is always they always want to make it seem like everybody wants to make gatekeeping sound like a bad thing until they realize when you open the gates to everybody, shit gets ruined real fast. Shit goes down. No, I'm serious. Like people are always trying to make it seem like if we homogenize everything, it'll just be better. And it's like, take a look around, bro. Like, why do you think these days everybody's trying to form their own communities? People have to be more protective over the most simple shit these days because everything that's how it is. It's like everything's open to everybody, and then before you know it, yeah, it gets fucking crazy. It gets out of hand and it gets ruined. It gets decimated. That's the truth. That is the fucking truth, bro. And you see this, unfortunately, it's so prevalent in so much media these days where and entertainment where it's like we need to reach a wider audience. Like, can't you just I don't know, appease the fucking fans? Like, no, we need to be more inclusive and let everybody in. And it's like, why can't you just let that happen naturally? Why can't you let the people who are interested just come in? Because we got to put this net around all these people here that actually fucking hate what we do and change what we do to appease them. Because we know we won't lose you. It's like, no, you should there should be gatekeepers that are like, fuck no. Like, how do you feel about this? Oh, I don't care about that. Okay, then you can go. Because we do care about it. Why would we want people who don't care to come in and then have a valid opinion on the thing that we care about? I'm just saying, everybody wants to make these arguments when it's in their best interest to do so, when it's convenient to do so. But I promise you, if you think about something you're a fan of right now, maybe you were a fan before, maybe you're a lapsed fan. I promise you, there's something, there's a fandom or a product potentially. It could be a food product, it could be a TV series, it could be comic books, whatever, bro. It could be games that you were a major fan of. You saw, it suddenly it's like, oh, they're appealing to different people now, and they're trying to cast a wider net, and now you've lost interest. You've been totally disillusioned. I promise you, you can think of that. The first thing that comes to a lot of people's mind is probably Star Wars. But that's the thing, man. Is I'm just saying there's pros and cons to it all. I understand. I understand that exclusives mean less people get access. As the person who never cared about that, as in like, I'll pay for my access. Like if you're going to offer something and you're saying all we need you to do is really come support it, I've never been opposed to that. It's not my problem. It never has been and never will be, and I'm not going to pretend to make it my problem. But it's like, if Sony wants to come to me and be like, "Listen, man, it's either we appeal to more people or this thing's going to die completely." I have to think about that then. It's like, okay, I guess, yeah, I guess try to appeal to more people. I don't want to see it die. But then you see what it turns into. It's like, maybe it should have died. Like, I don't know. What the hell's in this Fanta, dude? Potato with another super chat. You're saying, don't you think that all these people who keep changing their narrative in such drastic and convenient ways might actually be operating in favor of Xbox and therefore receiving money? I don't. I mean, well, it depends on what you mean by receiving money. Like if you're talking about getting clicks and, just going in whatever direction you have to make sure you're in good favor, absolutely. Yes. That's been obvious for many years now. If you're talking about like an actual exchanging of money between Microsoft and content creators or something like that or influencers, I'm not going to go that far. I mean, that would be kind of weird. But no, I don't think that they have to pay them. That's the thing. I think that they have to just treat them good, like we hear you. Right? Like that's it. Like we hear you. I'm listening. I'm here. Mhm. Yeah, tell me. I think as long as they act like that, you know, that combined with the fact that there are many people involved with this where it is just about the clicks where it's like, yeah, we'll just run with whatever we have to whenever we have to. We got the orders from HQ or whatever, like sure. And I'm been accused of that a few times as well. And the difference between me is the only people that I'm getting paid by are my own audience, and I've had people that that have paid me money through donations that I've completely disagreed with, to a degree where it's like I think that sometimes you just got to walk away, and it's like it happens. But that's why I've always observed what's been going on, and I'm like, well, could there be something more going on underneath the surface? Perhaps. If there is, I have no idea. And I'll certainly will. I'm not the one that's even going to ever attempt to try to prove it because that's where my care cuts off. Where I'm like, I don't care. Like if I found out that and I'm not saying this is the case because I don't believe it is, but it's like, oh yeah, like half these people are being paid. I'd be like, I'm not even a little bit surprised. It's like I would hope so, you know. P.S. on the brain, you're saying gatekeeping is fine. It's only for the minority players. I mean, look, man, I'm about I want to make it clear, like with the whole gatekeeping thing, I don't mean that in an extremist way. Because gatekeeping to me is something that it just like all things in life requires a fair balance. Where it's like you can't be extreme with your gatekeeping. Well, you can, but that makes it to me that's where things get really toxic. Where it's like, oh, this game. One of the areas of gatekeeping that I like disagree with is people are like, for certain games, like they should never add difficulty settings. And I'm like, uh, that to me seems too extreme where it's like, that doesn't affect you literally at all. You could still play on the exact intended difficulty from the developer. And if somebody else is not as good as you and literally can't, they have an opportunity to actually still play this game. Like that to me, like that's where to me, that's too extreme. I'm like, come on. Moore's Law is Dead said the next Xbox and PS6 will have the same performance. Uh-oh. God, I know people keep saying in the chat, like, check my last. I'll try my best. I'm trying to keep up. While ranting. Have I finished Resident Evil Requiem? I'm 94% done, bro. Yeah, I think I'm at literally the final part of the game. Which you would think I would have just beaten it, but I had to get off you know, when I got to that part. But I might try to beat it tonight, if not early tomorrow morning. Less people getting access will make you enjoy the game more. No, no, it's not about that. It's not about that. I'm not saying less people getting access. I'm trying to explain that gatekeeping to fend off the erosion of something that I guess has a core group of people propping it up that have helped, you know, shape it or become the success that it has become, that to me that might be worth gatekeeping a little bit. Where it's like, okay, well, if you want to open the gates, who exactly are you trying to open the gates to? And again, I will reinforce, we're trying to open the gates to people that don't care. And in fact, it's not even about letting them in. We're going to go to them. That to me is like, okay, they don't care, but okay. Just don't let that interfere with what you have established here with the fan base you do have. And 9 times out of 10, when companies do this, when brands do this, it does interfere. And the fans get fucking pissed. And only after, these companies and these brands take it too far and they're like, oh shit, I think we fucked up. Then they start walking it back. And then it's like, yeah, then it's like, oh yeah, gatekeeping is a good thing. Gatekeeping might not even be the right term. But it's just about balance, man. There's something like Alex in the chat. I guarantee you, there's something you could probably think of right now that this applies to, something you enjoy, something you care about. If you think about it hard enough, I'm sure there is. Yeah, I remember that, Mr. Veggie. That was bullshit. Joseph, you're saying, oh, I did read that one. Hold on. MBG, unfortunately, there are many toxic PlayStation fanboys. I'm a hardcore PlayStation and Nintendo fan, but I like people playing whatever they want. Well, yeah, that's the thing, too. I get it. I feel like I get grouped in with people who are, like, way too out of, like, I've seen some takes from PlayStation. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie, man. Like, some PlayStation fans, you kind of do it to yourself, man. It's like, guys, I'm not saying you shouldn't be happy, but, like, you know who I can't tell if they're joking or not? Who's that guy on Twitter? Pio? I can't tell, like, and I guess that's the beauty of it, is I don't know if he's playing character or not. He posted a picture of him hugging his PlayStation 5 Pro, saying this is like PlayStation fans today. And he's like been celebrating exclusivity again, like crazy. And I feel like that is crazy. But it's funny. But you don't, that's kind of the beauty of it, is you don't know. Like, I think he's serious, but I think he's trying to make it unserious. It's like walking that middle line of like, no, I'm serious, but I don't care if it looks stupid. Like, I'm going to make it look stupid to make it unserious. But we all know it's serious, And I appreciate stuff like that, because I think it is bringing like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a certain comic relief to it, where it's like, okay, well, it's not that serious, at the end of the day. But then I see people and it's like, no, this is dead serious. You understand? We're not joking. Okay? And we're and they get like they just, I don't know, they just have certain attitudes about them where it's like, guys, it's just not a good look. Like, it's just not a good look. It's why, like, even though I am happy, like, obviously I'm happy that Sony's going back to exclusivity. I'm not like trying to treat it like, yes, like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like, we're back, baby. Because I don't know. I feel like that's silly, where it's like, yeah, it's cool. I'm happy to see the renewed focus on what I think they should be focused on. But I can't bring myself to, maybe MBG 5 or 6 years ago would have been like that, but I can't get that. I can't be that way anymore. It just feels, I don't know. It just feels weird. Alex, you're saying only a handful of single player games will be exclusive. Everything else is on PC, third party, second party VR monitor / Sony just released a PC new controller. Well, that's the thing too, right? Because I saw that. I'm like, satire. Thank you. Yes, you're right. That was the word I was looking for. How could I forget? Yes, it's satirical. Um, yeah, that I appreciate. I appreciate satire. Um, but it's the stuff that you want to believe is satire, but you realize it's not at all. Like it's not intended to be satirical. It's intended to be taken completely seriously. That's fine if if it's in an appropriate place where it's like, yes, we're here to have like an actual earnest discussion and evaluation. Um, hopefully maturely, mostly maturely, right? Like that's fine. Um, but it's just, yeah, it's kind of like what you were saying, Alex, where you're like, like I enjoy my games more when less people can play them. Like that is crazy. Like that is crazy because it's like somebody could say, well, that's exclusives. That's people who get excited about exclusives. I'm like, well, no, maybe for some people, if you look at like if you try to evaluate and figure out like what are the deeper reasons. Again, it's a matter of like pros and cons. There are pros and cons to exclusives. There are pros and cons to games that forego exclusivity. And it usually hinges upon, well, like I see people talking about Resident Evil Requiem, right? Resident Evil Requiem, bro, look at how yeah, emotional damage. Look at how well it's doing. See, like, look at how well it's doing on Steam. It's like kicking ass on Steam. I think Steam might be like the best platform for it or something. It's like, see, Sony, I'm sorry, is Capcom trying to sell a console? Like, that's the point. Like that right there is like what that's the disconnect. Where it's like, yes, it would be stupid for Capcom to make Resident Evil exclusive to like one platform because they're a publisher. They're not a platform holder. You know, if Capcom was a platform holder and they were selling hardware, selling a console, then them saying, we're going to make our game only available on our console to sell our console to sell our platform, then it makes sense. Then it makes perfect sense. Let me check your perfect image. So, I'm sorry. I'm so I don't know. I got like a second wind tonight. I was feeling tired, but then I just got like a second wind and I started ranting like crazy. Tom Warren posts GDC is going to be interesting next week. Building for the future with Xbox presented by Microsoft Xbox. Oh, okay, so they're going to have like a whole presentation. Okay. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what they say, man. Maybe they will I don't know, maybe they will announce something kind of surprising, something different. Perfect image up. Where did you All right. PlayStation 6 and PlayStation 6 handheld specs reportedly leak with mention of PS5 and PS4 backwards compatibility release targeting fall 2027, early 2028. Uh oh yeah, no, we covered that, bro. Yeah. We covered that a while ago, perfect image. That was from like August 1st, 2025. Xbox is canceling PlayStation versions. That'd be so funny. Dude, that'd be so funny. I'm telling you, maybe it's just maybe I do want a little bit more chaos, but like I would embrace like I'd be like, hell yeah, let's go. Let's go. It would be so fun. But I don't know, I guess some people would go kind of nuts. But yeah, I just want to get to my final point here, and that is like, yeah, we do need to keep in mind that Sony is not completely done with PC. And it is important to once again bring that up because we've been obviously, this has big changes, big news. We talked extensively when the original news came out, but yeah, they're not completely done with PC. They're still going to be, releasing certain games on PC, live service games, second party deals like what they have with Kana, Scars of Kazmora. But yeah, I do think that it's just some people might be getting the wrong idea that like Sony is literally like burning the bridge. You know what I mean? They're burning a part of the bridge, a lane on that bridge, I guess you could say, but they're not burning the entire bridge down itself. And that is certainly important to keep in mind when we have these conversations. How many hours have I clocked in Resident Evil 9 so far? I'm not sure. It's got to be like 15 or 16 or something like that. Maybe more. I mean, I don't think the game is that long, but I've been taking my time through each area, walking slowly and stuff and exploring. I'm here to play games, not plastic boxes. Xbox or PC players playing Sony games has zero effect on me because I have better control over my emotions. I love the plastic boxes. Yeah. I'm here to play games too, but I love the plastic boxes. It's okay if you don't. I get it. You don't have to love the plastic box. I love the plastic box. Um where am I? Okay, so guys, we're going to wrap this up in about 10 minutes. We're going to do like a last call. We're sitting at 81 members. I'll leave it up to you guys. 81 is fantastic. That's amazing. I thank you guys so much for that. If you want to get us to 100, you do that. All right? I'm not going to be opposed to that. But we'll do like a last call here. We'll hang out for about 9 more minutes and then I'm going to wrap it up. It is getting kind of late. Let me see. All right, I need to get rid of this here. Get rid of that. And hold on. A new unannounced Capcom game set to release within the next fiscal year. Okay. Ballistic Moon, developers of the Until Dawn remake, filed for liquidation on July 29th, 2025. The company were officially dissolved February 3rd, 2026. Shit. I'm just seeing if anything else came out here. Let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, that was weird. I saw there was a certain topic trending, and it was from the tweet that I put out. Capcom Spotlight. Kojima posted 2 trailers for DS2, the VR one and the wildlife one. Xbox gamers don't deserve Stellar Blade. Oh yeah, let me check my poll by the way here. So we got 305 votes, and would you still buy a PS6 if Sony's exclusives were cross-gen with PS5? 54% said yes, 24% said no, which that's 1/4 of the votes. And then 22%, almost another fourth, said yes, but years later. MBG rumored Bluepoint pitched Bloodborne before they even joined PlayStation. God damn. It just keeps getting worse. It just keeps getting worse with the Bluepoint thing, man. Was Jason Schreier said that. Yeah. Marathon rated for Xbox One and PS4 ahead of launch. What the hell's up with that? Do we think that's actually going to happen? Oh, did Onimusha get a release date yet? Still not yet. No. No, I don't think so. Yeah, by the way, guys, Ray in the chat, or Mod here, Ray, he dropped the Discord link in the chat. So you guys you're able to join the Discord. You don't have to be a member or anything. It's strange seeing MBG stream this late when it's not a state of play or the Game Awards. Yeah, it is weird. Um, like I said, it's temporary. We'll probably have. I mean, like I don't have a timeline. I'm thinking by the third week of March, sometime in the third week, we might be back to normal. Uh, I'm gonna when it's all done, I'm gonna have a new streaming setup, like a new background and stuff. So that'll be cool. So yeah, you guys have a little something to look forward to as well. But Johnny PlayStation, yeah. Um, but yeah, the timeline with these things, it could be a little, you know. I'm excited for it though. I'm really looking forward to it. And it's not gonna be anything crazy. It's just it feels crazy to me because I've been doing so much shit to the basement. I mean, I've been talking to you guys about it, how like how long have I been living? I've been living in this house. Next year it'll be 10 years I've been living in this house. And literally for like 8 of those years, this basement I just let turn into I mean, it's a fucking disaster area, man, where it, it especially the other side of the basement. And so at the beginning of this year, I just decided, I mean, some of you guys already know this, but I just decided I'm like, I'm going to clear it all out. And I mean, dude, I cleared out like a massive part of my house. I'm talking there was so much shit I had to throw out, so much going to the curb. I was certain that my trash guys weren't going to take it. They did, which I was shocked. I'm like, okay, I thought I was going to have to like rent a dumpster, but we got awesome trash guys here, bro, and they took care of it. Um, but after that, I tried to. I mean, I showed you guys a little bit of my basement. Like, I wanted to make like a streaming area. I wanted to do a bunch of stuff, but just recently, we decided to like take it to the next level. And we're like, oh, maybe I'll get it like professionally like renovated. Luckily, my father-in-law is mostly doing it because that's literally what he does. It's part of what he does for a living. He like renovates houses and stuff, and he's working on that. And yeah, I'm just excited, man, because it's just cool. It's been like it's been 8 years of looking at. I'm just gonna say like a garbage basement, bro, because I made it that way. It was just like it's just a dumpster fire down here, bro. And to see it like being transformed and turned into something actually nice is really cool. So I'm excited. How's it going with the Opeth journey? I've still been listening to them on and off. I haven't. I was listening to like a couple songs, but I have yet to really dive deep into their like discography. So that will happen eventually. I've actually been listening to some Buckethead lately. We got any Buckethead fans here? Um, Still a lot of Soundgarden. Been playing lots of Ninja Gaiden 4, very video gamey. Hello, Clark. And we have Angry Well Watcher with a super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, every PlayStation I ever got was because of Final Fantasy. Bought a Switch for Octopath Traveler. Exclusives work on me. I got the Skyrim Platinum last week. Congrats on that, Angry Well Watcher. Yeah, I saw you. I think you showed that off in the Discord, man. So big congrats on that. And yeah, exclusives have always worked on me too. And I don't know. I find it hard to hate them because they do create interesting memories with platforms and different systems. And I am stubborn, so it's like if you don't give me a really good reason, I will just not move. So the reason has to be really good. And it makes me more open to some different things. New unannounced Capcom game rumor just dropped on Reddit. Yeah, I saw that. Buckethead is a very gifted guitarist. Yeah, I saw Buckethead live one time back in like 2007. It's awesome. Um, yeah, Buckethead's a legend, bro. You dressed up as Buckethead for Halloween once, Ray? That is goat behavior, bro. That's awesome. Somehow that doesn't surprise me with you, though, Ray. Somehow that doesn't surprise me. I think we have, I think, a really, really, really similar taste in music and like artists. Although yours is probably way beyond mine, truthfully. Like mine's probably very limited compared to yours. But the fact that you not only know who Buckethead is, you dressed up for him as Halloween one year. That will fall, Clark. Don't do that. That's awesome. Triforce. The Triforce of Metal Prague. You've seen Buckethead with GNR. That's crazy. Yeah, seeing him with GNR, dude, isn't that, to me, that's still the craziest thing in the world. I cannot believe that Buckethead joined Guns N' Roses for like a period of time. And if you listen to like the last Guns N' Roses album, which for a lot of people isn't really a Guns N' Roses album, but Chinese Democracy, they had like all the guitar solos are Buckethead. I'm like, do you want to hear the craziest thing about Buckethead? I'm curious if you know this, Ray. This is like to me, this is obscure knowledge about Buckethead. And I remember when I found out about it, I'm like, what? Buckethead gets together with the actor Viggo Mortensen. For those who don't know who Viggo Mortensen is, he's the guy who played Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings movies. And they just make music together, dude. And like Viggo Mortensen loves Buckethead. Brian Carroll. Okay, so yeah, you know his name. And I just think that that's the craziest thing, dude. I'm like, what? Like that is the most wild collab I've ever heard in my life. And it's just a thing they've been doing for like decades. Like that's awesome. Okay. GG Allen. The name rings a bell, but I'm not sure. Dude, it was so funny though. Like I remember when I was watching like videos of Buckethead and Guns N' Roses live, and every time he was trying to play Slash's songs, and he would, he was like trying to stay true to the song, but he just couldn't help himself. And he's like doing the freaking, he's like playing Night Train, and then the solo, little solo comes in, and he's just like going crazy. I'm like, I don't know, man. It sounded awesome. I loved it. Captain Fantastic. Is that movie where he plays the dad and he's like raising his kids off the grid and their mother died? Because if that's the movie you're talking about, I did see that movie and that was an amazing movie. Viggo Mortensen's that's a great movie. He's one of my favorite actors. Did you guys ever see the movie? It's based off the Cormac McCarthy book, The Road. The movie, they made a movie with it though. Fucking, I could only watch that movie like twice in my life, and I'm like, I can't watch this. It just like hits that hard. I'm like, this is crazy. And the book's amazing too. Yeah. Cormac McCarthy's good. Very good. Obviously, got No Country for Old Men. Buckethead was one of the best guitarists I've seen live. Dude is one of the greatest guitarists of all time. I've been a fan of him since the late 90s. That's awesome to hear, Chris White. Yeah, he's been around forever too, man. He's like older now, you know? Buckethead really is crazy, crazy, crazy good. What was even crazier is I remember like back in the year 2007, I think that was when I saw Buckethead live. I was playing on PlayStation 2, and I was specifically playing Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, the multiplayer. And there was not a lot of people playing that game. Okay, there was like a couple hundred people at most. I mean, it was a really small community. And I came across this guy whose name was like Buckethead or something. And we ended up like talking. I'm like, yo, you Buckethead fan? And we became like online friends for a little bit when we were playing that game. And it was because we were both fans of Buckethead. I'm like, that's crazy. Like the fact that happened inside of like this obscure multiplayer Metal Gear multiplayer game on the PS2. I'm like, it's the stuff like that, you know? The most emotional movie I've seen since then was The Long Walk. Damn. Yeah, I haven't seen that. That's crazy, Ray. That's crazy that you mentioned that. You're saying I've seen Pantera live, and Dimebag was pretty badass as well. Yeah, that's crazy what happened to him. It's crazy you mentioned that though, because today I looked I looked up the famous 1991 Pantera domination performance in Russia in front of like 1.5 million people, and I looked it up because I was watching a clip from, I forget, the Lex Friedman podcast. I think he had Rick Beato on, and they were talking about that. I'm like, I gotta go check this out. And I was like, oh my god, fucking nuts, dude. Why does he have a bucket on his head? There's a bunch of lore for it. Did you just look him up? You know who was a crazy guitarist? Frank Zappa. That man was one of the most intelligent and best guitar players of all time. Dude, that's what's so crazy to me about Buckethead. You're saying Buckethead does the Goro versus Art song in the 95 Mortal Kombat movie, and he also did the theme song to the Power Rangers. You're talking about the original Power Rangers theme, right? Dude, that's fucking I've always known that. I didn't know the Mortal Kombat thing. The Power Rangers thing blew my mind because I grew up like that was my shit. I dude, I have a photo. I can't get access to it right now because it's blocked. But I have a photo of my third birthday party, and my dad's holding me. I had a Power Rangers themed birthday party, and I was in a Red Ranger suit. And they had like this guy come in dressed up as the White Ranger, the White Power Ranger, and we were doing like karate moves and shit. And I loved Power Rangers, bro. And I loved the Power Rangers movie, bro. I watched that shit so much growing up. But that's what's awesome is when I became an adult and I became a Buckethead fan and I learned like I'm like, what? Like he did the Power Rangers theme song? I was listening to Buckethead when I was like 2 years old, man, and 3 years old. I'm like, yo, what? That's crazy. Yeah, Buckethead, he got around. He got around. He still gets around, and I'm like shocked. You always love the Yellow Ranger. Yeah, man. What is time, bro? What is time? For me, it was the original Power Rangers, though. Like I know, um, dude, Ivan Ooze was crazy. Yeah, I gotta watch that movie again. I don't know if I want to though, because it's like I probably haven't seen that Power Rangers movie since I was a kid, and so it exists in my mind, like a certain version of it. And I don't know if I want to see it through the eyes of an adult and ruin it. I just want to have those rose tinted glasses. Yo, their suits looked cool as hell though, didn't they? In the movie, in the Power Ranger movie, because like in the show, they were just like a polyester material, I think. In the movie, they were like leather. And I know that sounds weird, but like it looked fucking cool. And I did read a little thing about it not that long ago, actually, where people were like, because I kept seeing it trending on Twitter, this Power Rangers movie. I'm like, why? And people were like talking about how cool the suits looked. And they asked how come they didn't always have them wear these suits? They look way better. And people were responding by being like, if you were like watching behind the scenes or whatever, yeah, it was like apparently really, really hard for the stunt performers, I guess, to do shit in them because they were really rigid and they ripped and tore easily and stuff. I'm like, damn, the price of having sick ass Power Ranger suits. But yeah, it's cool to reminisce about that stuff sometimes. Sometimes I forget how old I am. Shit. But where are we at? I think I went. Okay, yeah, I actually did an extra 20 minutes, but I think this will be a good place to wrap it up, man. By the way, MBG, have you played the Fumito Ueda game like Eco, The Last Guardian? I played Shadow of the Colossus. The other two I haven't played. Maybe one day I will. I was very late to Shadow of the Colossus. I loved Shadow of the Colossus, so I'm sure I would love the other games, Eco and The Last Guardian. And there's that new game that he's making, right, with like that mech or some shit. If I recall, wasn't that revealed? That's the same guy, right? Yeah, I'm sure one day I'll probably get around to playing them. But yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you all so much for tuning in today and hanging out with me. I cannot promise that I will. There's a chance I might not be around tomorrow or Saturday, and I might not be back till Sunday. I'm not sure. I have to see how things go. Because the next 2 days are gonna be very busy. Sunday will be good though. Sunday I'll be here for sure. So just be on the lookout tomorrow. Saturday, I think it's safe to say I'm probably not going to be here. And then we'll see how next week is looking. But but yeah, before I head out, I want to thank you guys. We hit 81 members. Thank you all so much for that. And anybody who dropped any super chats, any direct donations, um, all of that allows me to do what I do. You know, I say it all the time. We're completely fan funded. I'm very thankful for the community we have. So thank you all so much for that. The only other thing I'll ask you to do before you head out, if you haven't already, is hit that like button. And yeah, so just make sure you have notifications turned on. And hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. If not, I'll see you guys on Sunday. But all right, that's it, guys. Good evening. Good night. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, take care, everyone.